games of the future. The Mobile Legends Bang Bang tournament features 16 teams of up to 6 competitors. The game is played in a 5 versus 5 format until 2 wins or 3 wins in the finals. Each team has 1 reserve player. Replacements can be made between the matches, and in the event of a player injury or other force majeure, a replacement can be made during the game. The tournament consists of 2 stages, group competitions and playoffs, and the matches themselves will be held in a best-of-3 format. Only 12 teams will advance to the second stage. The group stage is played in the GSL format, the playoffs in the Olympic format. Teams that finish the group stage without defeat go directly to the quarterfinals, and those that lose 1 match will compete in the last 16. Teams that lose both their group matches are eliminated from the tournament. Good luck and have fun.
The future. The future.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Games of the Future 2024. As we step into the virtual arena today, we'll be seeing the top 4 teams in the world fight out in the semifinals for a prize pool of $1 million, the biggest prize pool we have seen so far in Mobile Legends. Buckle up, as today we'll be taking off on a flight very high in the sky through the semifinals. My name is Steph Weezy, all the way out from North America, and I'm honored to be a special guest on today's show to be able to cast these games. Now, introducing a special talent who's been a part of the scene in MLBB since the very beginning. It is rumored he pulls up in a new vehicle every day to the venue. His suits are made out of the finest quality fabric. He never wears the same shirt twice. Rumor also has it that his salary is double that of the Game of Futures prize pool, and his own personal bank is sitting in his backyard. One of the richest casters in the world, and I'm convinced he is from the future. You've seen him in MPL Philippines and all.
Созидания, способные объединять народы, вселенные и сохранять баланс мироздания. С развитием технологий люди стали больше погружаться в виртуальные миры, забывая про мир физический, обрекая гармонию на угасание. Чтобы восстановить баланс, гармония переродилась жар птицы мира отправилась сквозь вселенные в поисках героев, способных вернуть утраченную энергию. Избрав 5 сильнейших представителей, Мира собрала их у Куба Советов, наделив их уникальной силой. Они стали хранителями гармонии, чья задача — охранять и поддерживать баланс. Советом было принято решение провести турнир, победитель которого распространит гармонию по свету. Для этой цели Куб преобразовал частицу гармонии во флейм, древний артефакт для сбора энергии. Хранителями было выбрано место для проведения турнира — город с самым сильным соприкосновением энергии. Именно здесь миллионы зрителей и сильнейшие атлеты примут участие в величайших играх всех времен, чтобы определить достойнейших и восстановить баланс миров. Да начнутся игры!
And here we are. Like we stated, one of the richest casters in the world, and I'm convinced he's from the future. You've seen him in MPL Philippines, MPL Indonesia, M1 all the way to M5. Introducing the richest caster in the world from the heart of the Philippines. Wolf is in the building. How you doing?
I'm stunned. Thank you so much for that intro. However, you know, I do wish that I am what you say I am. You know, if money was if money was a thing, you know, dude, I'd take all of it. But it's just, I'm actually stunned. I'm out of words. You know, this is the first time I probably stuttered in an introduction. So thank you so much, Steph, for that. And yeah, I would hope that as much hype, I hope that the games can bring as much as you did. Because like I said, I'm lost for words, dude. You stunned me.
I had to, man. I got to give credit where it's due. Definitely a vet in the game. And shout out to Wolf joining us today on our amazing venture through the semifinals. That's right. Today is the semifinals, guys. One step closer to figuring out who's the best in the world and who will be taking home majority of that $1 million prize pool and stepping into the grand finals. Now, let's do a little bit of a recap of what we've seen, right, throughout the entire tournament. We had 4 groups fighting it out for a couple of days, and then we moved on to the playoffs, which was one team getting knocked out from each group. And we had currently a couple of days of playoffs, right? We had round 1 and the quarterfinals, which were all amazing matches. And yesterday was the quarterfinals. A couple of teams did get knocked off the board. We got to see RQ Hoshi take down the Burmese Ghouls, Apbren take out Homeboys, Blacklist International taken down by Fireflux Esports. Who would have thought Turkey stepping up into the scene and taking down a Filipino team? And then Onyx, 2-1 up against RCC. They did lose a match. It was looking a little shaky toward that late game, but they were able to make up for it in game 3. And here we are, now at the semifinals with some great matches ahead of us.
You know what, Steph? Watching the quarterfinals last night was, at least for Southeast Asians like me, I'm from the Philippines. When you're watching that, you're looking at quarterfinals 1 and 2, where you kind of expected that will happen, right? You know, as a Filipino, I would go for Apbren, and I know for sure that RQ Hoshi with 2 Filipinos in there, they're gonna take it. Oh my! I can't believe that I'll be that surprised late in the night. This happened what? I think 2 a.m. in the Philippines, so we're all very, you know, sleepy already. We're all drowsy. But then again, Fireflux Esports stuns Blacklist International 2-0 fashion after a very long time of not being able to defeat Blacklist International franchise versus franchise. They 2-0 Blacklist International in one of the biggest tournaments internationally for Mobile Legends. That's like mind blown. And then RCC takes away a game from Onyx. Onyx had to work for that series. Even the games that Onyx won, they had to work hard for it. So all of the drowsiness, all of the sleepiness, it went away even when it's like 2 a.m. in the morning for Filipinos, or for Southeast Asians, just because of the act that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, it was definitely jam-packed and full of surprises. And I'm right there with you. Honestly, to be able to see Fireflux able to take a game from Blacklist, one of the most highly decorated teams on the Philippines, and to be able to take them down. I mean, they placed 3rd inside of M5, taking down a team which is kind of reminds me of Fireflux currently, which would be Deuce Volts, right? They had a high rise side of M5. They made it all the way to 4th place and then got taken down by Blacklist. But to see another region, Turkey, stepping up to the game and showing the world they're ready to take it to the next level, and they're going to have that shot here, right? I mean, you know what's so funny about today's matches? Semifinals game match 1 or series 1, we have RQ Hoshi versus Apbren. We're going to be seeing Indonesia going up against the Philippines. There's only currently one more Filipino team in the mix right now, which is Apbren. And we still are sitting with 2 Indonesian teams. We got Onyx and RQ Hoshi. But then also, like I said, since Blacklist did get taken out, we do have another region contending so far inside of the semifinals, and it's going to be some excitement. Now, I mean, how do you feel about the new RQ Hoshi? I mean, with their new rosters, back to the RQ Hoshi name, they've been performing.
Yeah. No, I definitely high expectations for the team, especially because of their moves. I think when it comes to when you're gonna be asking me about what my expectations were of RQ when they did announce the roster, it was incredibly high. And now they are actually proving that those expectations are well met. Now, with all of the success that RQ was able to get in the past few days for Games of the Future, you still have some doubts of their strength as a team, right? So I'll be completely honest. I'm not yet that convinced of what they have shown, just because in their first series, they almost lost both of their games, but then they came back. So there was a little bit of a shakiness, but that's understood, you know, because this is a new team. So when now we're talking about top 4, where they're up against teams that have great chemistry already, now that's when you start to ask questions. I still rate them very highly, right? So I think that with the coach that they have and the 2 Filipino players and then the rest of the Indonesians really stepping up for this team, my expectations and my rating for the team is still very high. But they're probably gonna struggle in the top 4.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be a challenge. We're now looking at Banana. Speaking about RQ Hoshi, just dominating with that Benedetta, rotating all around the map. Octa being such a strong force so far. Brusco stepping into the scene. You've seen all the amazing setups. Skylar, the crazy $1 million Layla play that we got to cast. Who would have thought we would have seen Layla in an international tournament? And Irad dancing around the jungle, pulling out the Lancelot, getting the steals, getting the kills. And overall, some flawless execution as RQ Hoshi, straight out of Indonesia, looking stronger than ever.
So many good standout plays from Octa, which is interesting. But now, of course, we have the mainstay from the team, like Banana. There's so many criticism that he was able to get when he started playing for RRQ back in MPL Season 10. Then after 3 seasons, still, people are not convinced on what Banana can bring to the table. But so far, in Games of the Future, you have noted some of the important games and important heroes that he's playing, like the Benedetta. That's surely something that you have to watch out for. And then, now they're facing Apbren.
Yep, Apbren stepping into the scene. Flap Teasy, not wasting time. Definitely a fan favorite. You are seeing Pando sneaking up into the scene as well. Phew, there he is, looking stronger than ever. Heavy competitor in Ogwin. Can't wait to see these guys perform today. Apbren, like we said, the current champions from M5. Kyle Teasy himself throwing up that fist, ready to take the fight into the land of Dawn, as you are seeing them rev up. Just got to be excited to see this matchup, right? I mean, this should be technically the hardest contender inside of Game of the Futures 2024. They are the current world champions from last year.
Of course, the tournament favorites. And then when you see them kind of slack off in the group stages, I mean, I will not mince my words here, but that's what we felt as Filipinos when they were watching Apbren. Now they fight against Homeboys, a team that's worthy to be a contender for the team. They destroyed the competition 2-0. Now I gotta say, like watching that previous series when they went up 2-0 against Homeboys, that was a stomp, you know. And I'm not saying this because I'm from the Philippines and I know Apbren, but I'm saying that because that's literally what happened. It was very, very quick, and everything that Apbren was doing was connecting properly against their opponents. So what I'm trying to say here is, when you're looking at Apbren, it looked shaky when it comes to like the first few games in the group stages, but now during it's technically playoffs mode or the top 4 or the semi or the quarterfinals mode, they're a different beast. They really turned up, and everything that they did was perfect back then.
Yeah, definitely flawless execution so far. I mean, it's no secret, you know, when you're sitting at that world champion, I mean, honestly, they're in a position where they have really everything to lose. Everybody wants to take down the biggest team in the world holding that championship title from the M Series. But so far, just a little bit of history from Game of Futures, what we've seen so far, they're currently undefeated. They're able to take down Homeboys opening day inside of Group B. They beat S2G and sent them home inside of the winners match, and then moved on past stage 1 into stage 2 of the playoffs and defeated Homeboys again and sent them home packing to the airport. And then now today, we are going to be seeing them go up against another top region, MLBB, which is going to be Indonesia or the Philippines. Or Indonesia. Yeah, we're right.
That's right. That should be a treat. I mean, Who would have? This is something that the Filipinos would love to see. When the Filipino team, or the only Filipino team left, will have to go through an Indonesian top tier team, and then will eventually, or might be, getting into the finals against another Indonesian team, right? So, and especially because they're in the top four and this is a single elimination bracket, all of the matches now for Apbren will be difficult. They're going to be facing up against great teams and, worthy contenders of the championship. That is how you know that, okay, this is a time where the championship, the world championship, should be defended. This is how you should defend it, So I'm just excited and very curious on what might happen for Apbren versus RRQ Hoshi. And surely all of the Filipinos are very much excited now.
Yeah, I mean, they are the last stand for the Philippines, right? Seeing Blacklist taken down, they're the only ones sitting from the Philippines region to be able to hold that banner inside a Game of Futures 2024. But they're looking very promising as we are going to be progressing through these matches, and I definitely expect some flawless execution. But I think this may be one of the spiciest series that we've seen so far in Game of Futures 2024.
Yeah, for sure. And it's spicy enough to kind of, it's spicy enough to bring up some of the important emotions from the fans, right? So I'm going to bring something up here, Steph. One of my dear friends, Manjin, and I'm sure you know him, right? And when you're watching back in M4, when there's RRQ, when there's Echo, when there's Blacklist, there are Filipino teams. He's the guy that said that, Onyx has been carried by a Filipino. He's that kind of guy, right? So now, he is actually like raising up the spirits of the Filipinos. And I think that he wants to prove that the Filipino teams are really top tier, that it's still Filipino era. So do watch his stream. Well, not right now because you have to watch. Please watch us. Don't go to his stream. But maybe if you're a Filipino, you want the history stream, do watch him right now. He's support the Philippines, but now he's up for the challenge. So no matter if there's someone, especially from Indonesia, watching right now that wants to challenge Mr. Manjin Faldas in a dance-off or whatever, or maybe if it's a Mobile Legends game, he's up for it. And I brought this up because this is how much passion there is for the Filipino fans right now. Remember, this is 12 a.m. in the Philippines, right? So people are doing extra stuff. they're exerting more effort just to support the Philippines, and that's how passionate they are. So, yeah, big shout out to my friend Manjin Faldas, actually, and the Filipino fans. And I do hope that you enjoy the series that we are about to see.
Yeah, and that Filipino pride definitely burning hotter than ever. Shout out to everybody from the Philippines tuning in. Like you said, midnight over there. I mean, I'm in North America. It's about to be the afternoon for me, so it's daylight right now, as you can tell.
Okay.
My energy is going to be doubled inside of this stream because I'm not super tired at 5 in the morning casting. So fair warning if we break your eardrums as we jump into these games. I mean, you saw the amazing introduction from Wolf's introduction. Now, talking about Apbren, right? Let's kind of dive a little bit more into that. So far, we've been seeing a couple of key players rise to the occasion. Flat Teasy on the CC, normally picking it up, having such a great impact on kind of harassing members, creating the separation from the mobility and taking the neutral objectives. We've seen Super Marco pulling out the Navaria. He was able to take down Twisted Minds twice and also used it up against the Homeboys and shut them down. Both of them, just some heavy key players so far that are going to have to be looked out for if they want to have a shot to actually take them down inside of this series. You're definitely going to have to bring your A game from RRQ Hoshi.
Apbren is a team that is known to activate themselves not individually but as a team. And although that sounds very cliche, right? But if you really dive into the games of Apbren, there's no hero. There's no game that was won by Apbren because there's someone who pretends to be a hero. And I'm not saying like a hero in game, but a hero, right? Who wants to go for those hero plays. Whenever they try to do that, they usually lose the games. And if you look at the M5 World Championship, whenever they go for individual solo flashy plays and rely on that kind of strategy, doesn't work. But if they activate as a team where everybody's just, making sure that everybody else is working because they are activated by someone else, like the gold laner being activated by the roamer, or the mid laner making sure that the jungle is able to rotate properly by clearing out the minion wave in the middle. And then when they do team fight, it's all connected. That's a main strength of Apbren. I think that's very visible in their series against Homeboys. You saw how perfectly Apbren played against Homeboys because they played as a team. And that is how you actually force Apbren. This is actually a tip for RQ Hoshi. If you want to defeat Apbren, what you need to do is to force them to make the hero plays, right? So isolate them from the map, make sure that there's a 1v1 play that might happen between you and Apbren, and then all of a sudden the rotation might crumble. But that's hard to do.
Yeah, and speaking of things popping up on the game and what to expect, we are seeing the Nolan banned out first from RQ Hoshi alongside the Mathilda. A little bit textbook. We've seen the Nolan deal a lot of early game damage, just being able to rotate around that jungle and be a menace. The Mathilda, I feel like, is one of those more staple bans that we've been seeing so far. Everybody's scared for that mobility, sustainability that she provides, and very hard to kind of keep up with. But you spoke a little bit about Apbren and what RQ Hoshi could do to take them down. But let's talk about the other side of the board. What could our Apbren do to take RQ Hoshi down? Now, I would say it's going to start with taking down Skylar and Banana in the side lanes. Because so far, I had the pleasure of kind of casting Group A and watching their entire journey so far. And they've pretty much every single time won in the side lanes. You'd see Banana rotating around, seeing the Benedetta, able to cut the lanes, get the neutral objectives, and create the separation for the Lord fights. But then also at the same point, you got to see Skylar. Normally, he's beating that marksman one-on-one in the gold lane. And then even when things don't look in their favor, he pulls out a Layla last minute and still was able to pull off the victory. So, I mean, they definitely have a lot of momentum behind them. And that's something Apbren is going to have to watch out for.
And this is the thing for RQ Hoshi. They have Coach Ren now working for them as their head coach. Obviously, a very important tool in deciding these drafts. And him knowing what Apbren's wiring will be, that's a very interesting dynamic. Surely there's a new coach in town for Apbren, so maybe the dynamic will be a little bit different. But the fact that for Coach Ren, he knew from the start what made Apbren successful, especially during the M5 World Championship, where their draft was really tailored to make it work for Kyle TZ as well as Super Marco, right? So that could be the dynamic. And now going back to what you just said about the side lanes of RQ Hoshi, and yes, I did observe that their drafting pattern is more lean towards winning the side lanes matchup per matchup so that they don't have to worry about it. And now they can refocus their efforts into making sure that the mid lane trio moves quickly. So now Apbren, I think that they might go for Arlott this time. And knowing that Arlott is one of those heroes that really like it, it's an open pick. That might be the way for them to go. Apart from that, Nana is open, as well as Ruby, which is interestingly the hero of choice for Games of the Future.
You know, and speaking of things that are interesting, some smart drafting from RQ Hoshi, right? I mean, we got to see Apbren. They were favoring the CC in majority of their games so far in Game of Futures. So they went ahead and took it away from them inside of this first pickup. And then to top it off, we kind of look at their ban so far. They banned out the Navaria, one of the hottest picks so far over there for Apbren. And taking that off the board is going to kind of limit some of the heroes that we've seen them shine on so far in Game of Futures 2024. But there's still another pick out there that was the Faramis being slotted up, so they will have that sustainability that they're looking for, and then some good frontline composition as well, as they are going to lock in the Baxia.
Yeah, very interesting choice here for Apbren, going in straight for the utility jungler. Obviously, the Nolan as well as Joy is out, but their choice now is go for what works, right? So we're not yet over the phase of the utility junglers. We're not over the Fredrin, Baxia, Martis triangle that we have. As long as Joy and Nolan are both banned out, there's really no other merit for teams to go for non-utility junglers. Now, one hero that is very important here is the Faramis. Because you're already opened up with the CC, that means that you can't have access to other XP laners that can actually take down the HP bars of this Faramis or the extra HP from the ultimate. But Lilia is a great answer. And this is really such a Vren pattern. Like, pick up the Lilia, match up against the Faramis. We're all back in the M5 meta. It's just that CC is on the table.
Yeah, and CC definitely being on the table is going to create some problems. Now, looking at Apbren, I mean, they got the sustainability, they have the crowd control, they have mobility provided from the boxy as well, and some great, strong frontline compositions. We're going to have to see who they put in as the marksman. Now, speaking of the marksman, we've been seeing Super Marco kind of dominate. He's been running the Claude, the carry.
Yeah.
We also got to see him on the Brody with some great gameplay. All three of these heroes inside of his hands are a problem, and we'll need to have some answers. But speaking of answers, they're going to throw some more CC and sustainability into the mix. Apbren picking up the Ruby. Now, that's definitely going to be something that could give RQ Hoshi a problem.
Yeah. This is a hero that can step into the bush, maybe tank some of the glooms coming up from Lilia, although not fully. Doesn't really care about pokes. Because if you're looking at RQ Hoshi, right, just with the two heroes, with CC as well as Lilia, they have a lot of damage, but they're not the burst kind of damage. And I mean, you can argue that for the Lilia if you set up properly, but if you think about it, it still is under the stereotype or the archetype of poke, right? Maybe the only tier coming out from RQ Hoshi is the Tyroth, which makes a lot of sense against the Baksha. But if you're looking at Apbren, because they're a sustained lineup, pokes will not work. Maybe RQ Hoshi will look for big bursts from their marksman now. So maybe they closed this out with a carry, for example, or somewhere along the lines of a Nathan, actually, which I'm not entirely sure if RQ Hoshi have played or mastered before, but it is a hero that you can actually put here against the composition of Apbren because it's a Faramis plus the Ruby as well as the Baksha. You would assume that this could be a front-to-back kind of composition coming up from Apbren.
Yeah, definitely could be a strong answer. I mean, the only other marksman that we haven't seen, actually that we have been seeing, I would say really Mage, but ran in the gold lane position. We did see them pull out the Hareth. A lot of teams have been banning that away from them. And I don't think it would be the worst option to be able to pick up here. So I wonder if they're going to kind of ban that out. We are seeing the Minotaur, though, taken off the table. I mean, I think that's a good answer, especially with the Diggy not being banned out. It could be some great CC that could give Apbren a problem. I mean, considering they are running the Faramis, so they're going to have to be kind of stacked together in these engagements to be able to profit from that Nether Realm. But speaking about profiting, right, we're still yet to see who they're going to be running in the gold lane positions from either side. Now, we know the staple marksmen that are usually kind of picked up is that Claude, is that Brody, which just got banned out. A possible Clint on the way for Apbren could be a viable answer. All of these have definitely been, say, some problems. And I wouldn't just say for just these two teams, but overall, just one of the most highly picked marksmen in Game of Futures 2024.
Yeah, for sure. And that could be a priority now for Apbren. Maybe they pick up their marksman now because they want to keep the Ruby's flexibility from Rome as well as EXP. Maybe they snatch the Nathan, actually, because it makes a lot of sense against CC, in a way against this Lilia, because you can really dodge that so easily. And then it's a hero that is okay if there's like poke from the other side. But instead they go Paquito instantly from Apbren. That confirms the Ruby from that's going to be the Rome role here. RRQ Hoshi needs a little bit of burst type of marksman, right? So they banned the Brody. Maybe they go carry, but carry is generally not the hero against a Faramis. So I'm thinking like Beatrix or Nathan, actually, from RRQ Hoshi.
I'll throw one more at you. Maybe even throwing in the Bruno may actually slide in here. They've definitely been kind of going in on that. And I wonder which way it's going to go. I think burst potential is definitely what they need, especially against this strong frontline composition. I mean, you have the Ruby, the Baksha. Oh my goodness. Skylar again. It's because
against
you have
Bren.
the richest caster on the desk. That's what's going on. $1 million caster,
What?
$1 million Layla.
No. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that they'll do it against Bren. But it worked before. It is a great laning. Generally against most marksmen, just because of the range. And then they go Kufra. All right, so they force RQ Hoshi to really dig into the bag of tricks of Brusco now. And maybe this is something that I'll talk about later on. Look at Apbren's last two bans. It's Haka Brusco. They're minimizing what Brusco can play, forcing him to go for the Kufra. And then the Kufra is not necessarily a bad hero, but it doesn't really give anything in the mid lane. It will not protect the Lilia. It will not force out the Faramis because they're going to be safe. And then the Ruby is just able to scout out where Kufra is. That's the thing with the Ruby, right? So you can mirror where the Kufra is, and the Kufra can't do anything. Like, cannot initiate because you'll always be in front of that Kufra. There's the Clint, as you've mentioned. Better range against the Layla just because of the passive. Definitely a lot more outplay potential compared to the Layla. and very strong when it comes to team fighting in the early stages of the game. Massive chance for them to take this. So this is actually a pretty good draft between two teams. I'm excited to see what the Layla can bring to the table.
And I'm just as thrilled as you are. We didn't get to see that last pick for what they're going to slot against the Layla in the gold lane. You know, when I tried to guess it last time, that's when the Layla came out. We don't know yet. As we're going to jump to the Land of Dawn, we'll definitely let you guys know. But nonetheless, we're up for a great match in today's first series of the day, stepping into the virtual arena. We are in the semifinals for Game of Futures 2024. We're going to be seeing Indonesia up against Apbren, holding the banner from Indonesia and holding the banner for the Philippines. The last Filipino team standing so far as Blacklist was knocked down. Will we be able to see Apbren push on forth to the grand final, or will we see RQ Hoshi rise to the occasion?
Gonna be close.
Games of the future.
Is this how Bren defeats his former team? Right? Is it the Layla that we will see in this particular matchup that eventually overcomes Apbren? We'll be able to find out. For now, I'm looking at the matchups in all of the lanes. First off, Clint versus Layla. I gotta say, like, maybe it's still Clint favored, like if it's a pure 1v1, just because of the passive. And that's always been the case for Clint. He can win the laning stage just because of the passive. And I'm sure that Super Marco is pretty much able to be adept with that hero. Now we're looking at the other end. It's Paquito going up against the CC. Now this is like a very tricky. It still is matchup based, but I gotta say it's probably is CC favored in a way that it's easier for the CC to duel against the Paquito. It's not a win per se, but it's a much easier for that one. But now Few.
Yeah, it's going to rush in a little bit of damage in the mid lane. I love how you kind of broke down some of these matchups, right? I mean, when we're looking at the Layla, we know it's a really late game damage dealer that can close the game out if you let her kind of get those items. And also, I always like to call it a glass cannon, right? Very squishy in the beginning, easy to kill if you can dive. And that should be a focus for Apbren if they do want to shut down Skylar, because, I mean, we all seen how this played out before, right? So can Apbren be the difference and not have the same thing happen to them? As you are seeing a big flash in the mid lane, not able to connect with the Abysm Strike, with some early aggression from RQ Hoshi.
Yeah. We haven't really talked much about this Dyreth, but I do like this pickup. Third pick coming up from RQ Hoshi. After the Baksha was already revealed, they're confident enough to go for the jungle Dyreth, which we know is a direct answer to the Baksha, right? So it has enough burst to counteract the sustain that you can get from the Baksha, and there's no hero from Apbren, even the Ruby, that can stay in front of that Dyreth.
Yeah, it's big enough staying in front of things. Everybody fighting it out in front of the turtle. It does get reset. Nether Realm activated over there, trying to keep the team alive. Few being able to proc it. Ogwin will find Irad, though. Does take down the Dirath we were just talking about, meaning RQ Hoshi will not have the retribution, and the first objective will go to Apbren.
I can see Apbren, after the Vengeance was popped from Banana, immediately they just, they dropped it like it's a very hot plate. And then they went in back for the Faramis ultimate, which allowed them to eventually take out Irad. And after the dash from the Dyreth, that is the main weakness of the hero, by the way. No immediate dash afterwards. Oh my god, that's the problem. You don't... That's the problem with Kufra, right? It doesn't really actually protect teammates anymore. Especially if you start the fight with the jump.
You kind of called it, the ace in the hole that they need to look out for. The Kufra could be a possible problem trying to protect Sky. I mean, some great setups from Ogwin, hitting them with the I'm offended. A lot of chain CC from that Ruby, and also sustainability to stay alive when that Layla's trying to burst him down. With Super Marco taking up that kill, we'll put him at a slight advantage. You know, he's trying to kind of scale a little bit better than a Layla. We mentioned if they can take down Skylar in the early phase, this is where you see the glass cannon of Layla kind of break down.
Yeah. You see the Ruby as well coming up from Ogwin, not even needing the flicker in that moment. That's gonna be hurtful for RQ Hoshi, but that's also something that Brusco has to learn from now. He has to really delegate himself and his skills to save his teammates and not initiate for now, because they don't have that license to start the fights. Maybe if they have the conceal already, that's when they can probably make a play out of the Kufra. But for now, your duty as this Kufra for Brusco is just for protecting your teammates.
Yeah, and I mean, Speaking of protecting teammates, I mean, we did see it go to a 30-minute game the last time RQ Hoshi had the Layla. So even though they were kind of getting a lot of objectives taken from them and having a hard time, they were able to still sustain themselves until Skylar got all of those items necessary. And then he was able to get the game winner to close out the game. So Apbren, even though they have the slight advantage, 2 kills up, we need to see them kind of close it out. That's where Deus Fuchs kind of struggled up against the Layla. Even though they dominated in the early phase, in the mid game, they just couldn't close the game out. And then that's when Skylar came alive. But right now, Apbren sitting really good in the early phase of things.
If you look back 20 or 30 seconds ago, you can see Apbren's micro rotation wherein they went in for the crab play and they gave it to Super Marco. But now the dash in the middle.
Yeah, big knockup for the stun. Hitting Kyle TZ and Few, forcing out the Nether Realm, keeping the team alive. Abysm Strike, not going to deal the damage Irad was looking for. And back to the purple buff he goes. Vengeance proc by Banana. Very low, will disengage into the mid lane.
And that's actually what Brusco needs to be doing. Imagine if he initiated first, he couldn't have defended his teammates. However, Irad wanted to go for the play when there is still the Fire Mist ultimate. And unfortunately for RQ Hoshi, this is the power spike for Apbren. When you have the backshot that at the first turtle, it's gonna be great.
Ooh. Speaking of things that are great, massive damage. Destruction Rush able to connect onto Ogwen from Skylar. You're already seeing how heavy of a hitter that Layla can be. Irad trying to close the distance. Abysm Strike onto Super Marco, but now hit with the stun. Kyle TZ hiding the damage, slowing him down, trying to get a pick off. Down he goes. Few will take down Irad on the aggressive back lane play, and that'll be 3 kills on the board for Apbren.
Oh man, Irad just overheating up top. You'll understand why he went for that play. He knows that Super Marco is there, but Ogwen, even with just a quarter HP or even less, he went for the heads-up play to stun Irad so that Super Marco will be able to attack for a bit, maybe lifesteal a bit, get out into safety, and then Kyle TZ jumped into the fray. That one weird interaction is that Brusco didn't immediately jump with the Tyrant's Revenge. He waited for far too long, and that might have been the reason why Irad actually did not survive that. Because he's already in range, right, to stop his teammate, but that costed them a death on Irad. So sometimes those trade-offs, even if you maybe sacrifice your life as the Kufra, you're gonna be way better off if Irad survived that play. So that is something that really is gonna be the dilemma for RQ Hoshi.
Speaking of dilemmas, we kind of talked about earlier in the draft things Apbren could do to shut down RQ Hoshi, and it was definitely putting some discomfort in the gold lane and the XP lane, taking down Skylar, taking Banana. They found a kill on Skylar, and they were also able to extend the gold lead for their marksman. He's now up 1,000 gold Super Marco over him. But speaking about the lanes, Few will find Skylar, and you are seeing the chase on a Brusco. Flap TZ gonna hit him with the heavy left punch. That is gonna be 2 more kills for the side of Apbren, and now a 4,000 gold lead.
Whew. Let's get a bite, and even Octa has to run away for now. And they're gonna be going for the turtle. I think this is Apbren's. Oh, Irad! Okay, never mind. Okay, the mechanic, working on it.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, while they got the turtle on the bot side, though, you did see Flap TZ take that tier 2 turret. So they have map control for the side Apbren and also a great gold lead. Even though they didn't claim that turtle, I would still say overall that's a better trade for them, which is how far ahead they are for RQ Hoshi. They need to start translating some of these objectives in their favor, right? Maybe opening up the map would be a great start, because I don't know if Apbren's the type of team that's going to let them take it to a 30-minute game like Day is Full.
Yeah, Apbren is known to go for the, you know, like in the movies, go for the head. You should have aimed for that. That's definitely what Apbren is trying to do almost all the time, especially the way that they're drafting. And then you really have to commend Apbren from their previous rotations. Like every rotation, be it micro or macro rotation, benefits the team in general. Like for example, what I said earlier, when they went in for the play up top for Super Marco to give him the gold grab. That's you know, that looks like a small play, but if you compound all of those plays all together, you can see Apbren really just dominating the map afterwards. Then after this before the turtle fight, they moved in a way that they were able to poke RQ Hoshi, they were able to poke Octa. Then that meant that they can push easily. Another play.
Yeah, big play on the way. Super Marco will find Banana. They opted in on the conceal play, just went straight forward as a full 5-man team to be able to take him down. Used a lot of utility though, but was able to extend that kill lead now 6-0. I mean, this gold is steady climbing. They're up by like 6,000 gold now, 3 turrets in, 2 above RQ Hoshi. RQ Hoshi has yet to find a kill so far in this entire game, as we are hitting that 10-minute mark. A little bit of a struggle in today's matchup. But like we said, RQ Hoshi, when they pick up the Layla, they're banking on the late game. We know we're going to lose a little bit in the early phase, in the mid phase even, but if we can hold off, they can turn this around. But Apbren, like you said, going straight for the head, cutting the head off the Serpent. What they're looking to do, trying to shut him down. You are going to see big setup though. Banana taking the half HP. Kyle Teasy going in for the kill. Flap Teasy joining him. We'll take him down. Netherrealm to keep Apbren alive. Flap Teasy will find Irad with a heavy left punch. 2 members falling for RQ Hoshi, and the Lord Pit has been controlled by Apbren. But can we see RQ Hoshi turn this around? No. Looks like they are going to have to disengage. They don't have the numbers. They don't have the damage. And they're also too far behind in the economy.
It can now be proven that Apbren is the tournament's tempo controller. Oh, Brusco with a play.
Ooh, rushes in on the Skylar. Flap Teasy. Get it. The dynamic duo in effect. Brusco very low, makes his way into the tier 2 turret, which may open up the opportunity for Ogwin to try and push in. But you are seeing Octa over there. Both teams fighting out, now going over to that purple buff for a slight invasion. Man, overall, such a great game for Apbren. RQ Hoshi, what do they do to turn this around?
Well, they have to regain the tempo at the very least. Second, if they can't do that, the only other option here is to just survive this mid game. Just make sure that you don't lose your base. Maybe try to win when everyone is locked 23 minutes. But that's very difficult to do.
Yeah, definitely going to be a challenge. Destruction Rush going out from Skylar, trying to clear those minions. Not even enough damage to do that. Down goes the tier 2 turret in the mid lane. And now you're looking at RRQ Hoshi stripped down to their inhibitors.
Yeah. Going to be difficult now for RQ Hoshi for sure. And I gotta say, there was this play that Apbren did again in the mid lane where Super Marco looked to be alone in the mid lane when he's pushing, but already Flap TZ is pushing that is already positioned in that bush near the mid lane, so that left side of the turret. That's why even after the initiation coming out from Brusco with the Flicker Tyrant's Revenge, and we know that Octa is there for damage, Apbren was prepared. This tells us that whatever Apbren is doing, they're doing a buddy-buddy system, or at the very least, they're making a macro play for it. In that specific case, like look at the bush that Kaltiz is holding. When somebody shows himself in the mid lane, it's an ambush, right? So nobody from Apbren is ever alone. They will not make the play that looks like they're isolated. This is the championship caliber team that you're seeing. They have plans every time that they're trying to move.
And this is kind of looking similar to the game with Deus Volt up against RQ Hoshi when RQ Hoshi picked up the Layla of Skylar. And the problem was Deus Volt was not able to close the game out, even with this massive boost in the economy and the objectives overall on the map. But Apbren letting the world know, hey, we are the champions and we planned to let it stay that way, as they are going to go in with the concealed play. Kyle TZ initiating onto RQ Hoshi. A double stun. Black TZ will find Irad. One member falling. And it looks like RQ Hoshi will be forced back into the base. Apbren in total control.
Wow. 10-0. And the grip is not loosening at all. You can see RQ Hoshi being desperate for farm. They're trying to do everything that they can just to get the farm. And all things considered, Irad might have gone for the only play possible. Yeah, obviously he died, but then again, Apbren knew exactly that will happen. And now Lord Fight, no retribution for RQ Hoshi.
Yeah, Brusco winding up, decides to hit a quick 180. Wasn't able to find the opportunity. Skylar trying to get the steal, unable to connect with the Destruction Rush. Apbren will claim this Lord, and a body of Super Marco will take down Brusco. I would call that a 2-for-none trade. And right now, we haven't seen RQ Hoshi really take any objectives, no kills. And so far, it's been more of a reactionary side of things for them. Apbren just controlling the tempo.
You nailed the right term for RQ Hoshi. Yeah, they're reactionary, heavily reactive. They're not making the heads-up play, right? They're not making a play. That's what I'm trying to say here for RQ Hoshi. They're always just reacting to what Apbren is doing. And that is how you know a team has controlled the tempo, right? So whatever is happening to RQ Hoshi right now is not entirely their fault. It's Apbren just forcing them to be in that spot. Apbren are so active, and they're taking control of the tempo so quickly.
Yeah, speaking about taking control, stepping into the base for RQ Hoshi for a possible early finish. Apbren trying to seize the opportunity, but the Lord is getting bursted down. It has now fallen, and out of the base, Apbren goes. Now, it is now 15 minutes in, getting to that 15-minute mark. Like we said, the later the game goes, the better it'll be for RQ Hoshi to be able to turn this around. Wind of Nature picked up from Super Marco, definitely getting ready to kind of take that fight and negate the physical damage as you are seeing them possibly go in and try and take some of these remaining inhibitor turrets.
Yeah. Apbren, very disciplined in this push, even when they're leading by so much. Gonna try to dive. And Flap easy with the halberd. That's gonna be deadly. I mean, that is your way of dealing with the Layla, even in the latter portions of the game, even in the late game. Surely the Wind of Nature for Skylar will be key, and I think that he will pick that up later on. But imagine in a refreshed team fight, that halberd pickup coming out from Flap TZ is gonna destroy Skylar.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard, right, for the side of RQ Hoshi to turn this around. I mean, Brusco, off to a rough start, not really able to find the opportunities for the sets he was looking for. And it's going to be a challenge, especially going up against Ogwin on this Ruby. I mean, even if he tries to hit a Tyrant's Revenge or Tyrant's Rage, for a group setup, I mean, Ogwin just has to provide a little bit of chain CC to kind of stop him in his tracks. And I feel like that's a little bit of the struggle we've been seeing so far for him to be able to get those setups that RQ Hoshi is baiting for.
Yeah, I'm coming up of ways for RQ Hoshi to come back from this game. The number one option, obviously, is just to rely on the late game of Layla, which is honestly not a bad idea if you think about it. I mean, that's their only way. There's really no other way for them to win this game apart from really depend on Skylar and his immense amount of damage in the late game. So how do they get to that point? My magic number is 23 minutes, where everybody's just, farmed out. Everybody's just locked item. And it wouldn't matter if you lose one inhibitor or maybe all of your inhibitors. It wouldn't matter as long as you keep your base. And your defense will be there. You have the Lilia anyways to breach you into that late game because you have wave clear. Then again, will Apbren allow that? Because so far, Apbren, they have now the luxury to go for banana.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and do the banana splits. Super Marco taking him down. Ice Cream Sunday. We'll be able to find one member, RQ Hoshi. Tried to get that contest on that last-minute Lord still. Didn't really work out in his favor, and that's going to put RQ Hoshi in a disposition in this team fight.
Really questionable play coming up from Banana, going for that. I mean, they have already conceded the Lord. It didn't have to really look into that Lord, knowing that there's a lot of catch from Apbren. You have Kyle TZ, and you have Ogun with the Flicker and Flap TZ. Then you're a CC with only one legitimate dash. So, really questionable play coming up from Banana out there.
Yeah, and Apbren holding the banner for the Philippines, trying to find their first game of the day up against Indonesia or RQ Hoshi. But some great defense. They were able to burst down that Lord to hold off Apbren from closing out this game a second time. Mentioned that 23 mark being the time that we are going to be looking to for RQ Hoshi to have the damage necessary with all the late game items for Skylar to turn this around. Trust in Layla, the $1 million baby in the scenes, could make the difference.
Apbren are going to be disciplined once more. I want to keep this 12-0 love set as much as possible, and you'll understand why. RQ Hoshi going to have to really commend their defense. Even when it was 4v5, they were able to keep Skylar safe. That's always going to be the case. And like I said, the Lilia is the bridge for them to get into the late game. You can set up your bombs. But now, Kautizi wants to fight. Oh my God.
Octa very low, trying to get away. Use the black shoes. Ogwin on the chase, but a massive damage output. Netherrealm going down. Super Marco will find Brusco. Few takes down Octa. Two members down for the side of RRQ Hoshi. Make that a third as Super Marco gets another. Is going to go ahead and shut down Irad, leaving Skylar and Banana, the side laners who've been dealing so much damage in Game of Futures 2024 by themselves. Apbren, Kyle TZ will shut down the $1 million baby. Skylar will fall. Banana trying to get away, but running the wrong direction. Looks like he won't be able to contest. They're just going to let him get out of there. He's not going to be able to recall back. Few still will get the kill and a full wipeout against RRQ Hoshi. Apbren takes game number 1.
That is a clinic from Apbren. This is how you win as a team. Absolutely perfect rotations in the early stages. Even their calculated takes on those crabs just to allow for Super Marco to have an extra launch pad going up against his matchup. And they played out the draft really well. This Clint, the last pick coming out from Apbren was perfect because it solved that Layla problem when it comes to the laning stage. Make it really difficult from Skylar to stay up top. And that also called the attention of the Kufra. And we can see through the highlights how that happened again. Look at them go with the Faramis ultimate on Few. Perfect activation, and Irad was already in behind enemy lines. You can see Brusco just charging up far too late, and that allowed Few to catch up. Few was able to take out Irad, and these indecisions coming out from RQ Hoshi just really bit them in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Apbren just having such execution. You see Few taking out Skylar. Brusco having a hard time finding those sets the team was kind of relying on and didn't really have the easiest composition to be able to pull it off, especially having to kind of protect Skylar on the Layla. Some great domination inside of all the neutral objective areas, taking the Lords, taking the Turtles, and also being able to invade and claim majority of the turrets with little to no problem. Like you kind of mentioned in the beginning of things, RQ Hoshi was very reactionary, just letting Apbren dominate, and it didn't really build up to a turnaround that they were looking for. And I think they were kind of banking on Apbren playing a little bit similar to Dave's Volts, not being able to close it out toward that before that 23-minute mark, looking for that power spike. But unfortunately, that plan did not work in their favor, and Apbren letting the world know, hey, we're the world champions. We're the last team standing for the Philippines. Ain't no way we're letting the Layla take us out.
I can see the last play of the game for Apbren a little bit from now. And they kind of smelled that Arkeoshi overstayed outside their base just for, what, 10 or 15 seconds? And already punishing them for that. Even after some of the defense from Arkeoshi, even before the fight broke out, I already know that this is going to be a bad decision from Arkeoshi. And what I'm trying to say here is, at this point, 18 minutes, there is no license for RQ Hoshi to get out of their base. They're basically quarantined inside their base, and they don't have the pass from the government to let them out. That's exactly what they should be thinking during that moment. And it only took one sniff from both Ogwin as well as Kaltizi to know that, okay, they're out of their base. This is our opening. And that's exactly what happened. Apbren destroying and outplaying RQ Hoshi just because of the fact that they're more experienced as well as they have the better tempo control. They knew exactly how to deal with this composition, and they've punished duly. Our MVP is Super Marco, and I mean, we cannot really contest that. He played so well in this game. Very much on point with his laning as well as his positioning and the damage dealt as well from this Clint.
And some great setups to get him to that MVP over there from Ogwin on the Ruby to make that possible. I mean, look at Ogwin right there. His stats are on the board, 11 assists. But I got to give credit to Few and Kyle Teasy as well, as they were right behind Ogwin, just showing you how much synergy Apbren has compared to a lot of other teams. You mentioned RQ Hoshi, newer on the scene, still a really good team. They've been taking the world by surprise, and I know Indonesia's proud on how they've been performing so far. But Apbren, they're the world champions, right? They definitely have been playing a little bit longer and have earned that title from M5. And they don't plan on going down without a fight. Now, that is only game number one. This is a best of 3. So there is still a chance for RQ Hoshi to be able to turn this around. But I don't see them pulling out the Layla again. I don't really think it worked out. I feel like even if they went in with Brusco on a different roamer to be able to kind of protect her a little bit better, the early game objectives and even toward the mid phase from Apbren is very hyper-focused. It's fast, and you can't have more of a passive play style against it. They need something that can either match the aggression from the side of Apbren or beat them to the punch.
Yeah. My God, look at that. Look at that difference when it comes to the farm. Yeah, it's well, it really isn't like Skylar's fault that happened. It was mainly because of the movements that we saw from Apbren. I think that I've already said it twice when we were casting, but I'm going to say it again. The micro and macro rotations coming out from Apbren were perfect. The way that they're setting up each other to be able to get the most out of the time that they're given. For example, when they tried to also go for the push into the bottom lane together with the turtle, even when Red was able to snatch the turtle, their movements were so good that there wasn't any counter from the team. Then, when they tried to go for the push in the middle with Super Marco looking like he was alone, and obviously that's never gonna happen. A gold laner in the mid lane at the early stages of the game, pushing that turret, it's impossible that he's alone, right? And then Brusco kind of felt like, okay, maybe we can do it. Octa is here anyways. But Octa was just, he didn't realize that the only hero that can defend Super Marco in that play, it's not the Ruby, it's actually the Paquito with the Flicker, be able to take down that Lilia very quickly to the point where the Lilia will not be able to pop the black shoes. I cannot remember if the black shoes was actually popped afterwards, but the point is, there is a way to defend Super Marco in that spot. So it's more like, okay, do we actually think that Super Marco is alone here? Obviously, he's not alone. Like, that cannot happen against an M5 championship team. That will never happen. And that might be, that is definitely the reason why Apbren won that game. Every single play that they did, they had a plan in mind.
Yeah, definitely having a plan every step of the way. You could just tell how synergized their compositions were, where they were focusing on these objectives. Every time they found a member by themselves from the side of RQ Hoshi, they didn't waste any time. Instant conceal play, all full man team, full sending for the kill every single time. It didn't matter how far ahead they were on the board. They know, hey, we have the numbers. These little small objectives is what will make the difference toward that mid phase. And especially if they have a Layla, we can't let them get to the late game. So these little things matter. And honestly, just some great execution from them inside of that match. Now, looking at the side of RQ Hoshi, right? I mean, this is a different game that we've seen from Skylar and Brusco. When Skylar has to play the Layla, he's required to kind of play really far back in that lane and kind of be very passive. Normally, we see him take the fight a little bit more inside of the gold lane, be more aggressive, and also have some survivability. We know Layla is one of the few marksmen that lacks mobility and survivability in that lane, requires the roamer to kind of babysit and protect her at all times. And Skylar was the first kill of the game, and as a marksman, as a gold laner, that's definitely not something you want, especially before the first turtle spawning in and on a late game marksman that's supposed to kind of carry you through the way. So I think maybe stepping into game number 2 for Skylar, maybe we see some of the pickups that we've seen him kind of dominate on so far in the Game of Futures 2024. We've seen him on the Claude. We've seen him on the Beatrix. All some viable options can definitely take him to the next level up against Apbren.
Yeah. You can see now why the Ruby is one of the top choices for the teams. Obviously, when other teams used it, it didn't look as if it's a top tier play. In fact, the win rate of Ruby is very, very low. But when they're played by someone like Ogwen and Apbren as a team, where there's a set rotation, it looks wonderful. And I'm going to say this because the choice for RQ Hoshi was for the Kufra. Although we know for sure that Brusco knows how to play that hero, they were put in a spot where they had to choose a roamer for Brusco that's number 1, not meta, and number 2, cannot accomplish anything close to what a Ruby can accomplish, right? So if you remember that first blood, I said that the Kufra should be delegated in the spot where you're a defensive hero now. Because what they did was to initiate with the Tyrant's Revenge, the first kill of the Kufra, charged up, actually hit Super Marco, but because it's the early game, Layla cannot take out Super Marco in a span of few seconds. Because when Brusco jumped, there's no angle for an ultimate anyways. And I don't think that the ultimate was available anyways that time. So what I'm trying to say here is that surely they hit their shots with the Kufra, but that does not accomplish anything. Didn't even poke Kufra. That meant that when that was communicated, Ogwen already knew that there's no defense at all. There's no bouncing ball that can stop the Ruby to go for the play and actually snag Skylar, right? So that is where you struggle. Maybe if they kind of change their mindset during that clash, right? For the Kufra to just maybe run in front of Super Marco and just hit him, just be a nuisance in that case. And then maybe reserve the bouncing ball as well as the first kill for when the Ruby is actually there to target his own teammate. Maybe things would have been different, right? The first blood might not have been for the Layla. So the summary of what I'm trying to say here is that the delegation of tasks wasn't there for the side of RQ Hoshi. That's why they struggled. And there are so much limitations on the Kufra that now if you compare it to Ruby, the Ruby can accomplish so much more than a Kufra would.
And it's the same thing with the Layla and a Clint as well. Just so much that a Clint can accomplish that the Layla can't.
Yeah.
So like you said, they were limiting themselves in terms of these objectives, in terms of the laning phase, and that's what kind of costed them up against Apbren in game number 1. Now, there's a lot of sustainability on the table, and I got to give credit over there to Apbren on how well they executed with racking up those assists, right? I mean, you had few rushing in every time we seen, because they had early game damage from the side of RQ Hoshi. They not only had a Lilia, but they went Irad on the Dairoth inside of the jungle, which was a great answer, like you mentioned, over to Kyle TZ on the Boxia. But again, as soon as he rushed in, he either had Ogwyn by his side to kind of CC the Dairoth, cancel out the Abysm Strike, and if he wasn't there, no worries. Few would kind of snip into the scene and get that Netherrealm activated to be able to keep the team alive, even when the Abysm Strike would connect. And that was just some great execution on the 5v5 engagements. And with them being behind in the economy, with Skylar falling so early, not being able to take these turtles, it was a recipe for disaster inside of game number 1, especially against considered the best team in the world right now, holding that M Series title. Now, game number 2, we got to see how this kind of plays out for them, right? I don't expect them to pull out the Layla again. I expect to see the RQ Hoshi that I've been seeing so far in the group stages for Games of Future, and also inside of the quarterfinals, where they actually go in for more pickups that they don't rely on protecting their marksman as much. They're not really as reactionary, but they can take that fight into the jungle, onto those turtles, even possibly invade where necessary, and that's where they can kind of turn this around. Because if not, then we will be seeing Apbren push on forward, the last standing team out of the Philippines, taking out one of the 2 teams currently still in the mix for Indonesia.
Yeah. If I were to guess, I think that maybe the reaction here for RQ Hoshi is to actually prioritize the hero for Mr. Brusco. Maybe just, put it in the first phase. Get the Ruby as much as possible, or maybe secure the Minotaur, right? Those kinds of heroes, so that Brusco will have a lot more impact. But oh my God, the Ruby was already, because Apbren knows that they are first pick. So you saw from the previous game, Ruby is such a good red side hero, wherein you first pick it or first phase pick it. It's quite open. That will be the priority now. The Haka Brusco strat might be the thing for Apbren for them to low-key win the drafting against RQ Hoshi.
Yeah, and they may end up banning for RQ Hoshi. The CC could definitely be a problem. You don't want Apbren to be able to pick that up. That is a staple pick over there for RQ Hoshi to be able to deal some damage. You know what else is on the table, though? The Benedetta that we've seen dominate over there into the hands of Banana. It got a backdoor play in the group stage to be able to close out one of these games. The mobility is just very hard to match up with Banana. So either a CC or a Benedetta could definitely be a strong pickup for the side of RQ Hoshi if Apbren lets this slide through the current draft. Another good pickup would be something like the... oh, actually, it's banned out. They took out the Navari. I was going to say that's definitely a strong option. But something else that we've seen from last game, the Faramis is still on the table.
Yeah, Faramis. That could be a valid first pick for Apbren. They're that kind of team will not hesitate picking up the Faramis just because of how few is great with the hero. Another hero that they take away from Brusco as well as Irad is the Guinevere. This will definitely be a trend for Apbren as they want to take this series 2-0. Just take away all of those heroes that will make it comfortable for both Irad as well as Brusco. Faramis is open, like you said. This could be the first pick. Indeed, it will be. RQ Hoshi. Do they go for Lilia already this time? CC is open, but I think they go Lilia. Actually, Minotaur. There's something in me that says that maybe the Minotaur is going to be first phase picked here by RQ Hoshi.
100% CC first pick for RQ Hoshi. Yeah. And then I do agree with you for those additional picks as they go back in. Oh, whoa. The Minotaur. Okay, but
still got it.
Diggy's still on the table. So do they go in for more of a frontline jungler for the side of Apbren and pull out the Diggy to kind of counteract that CC? Or they not even going to go the Diggy at all, considering there is a Fredrin on the table, which could definitely overwhelm the time journey?
Yeah, Apbren might not really consider that. Maybe they'll be happy about the Faramis. Of course, it will be considered, but maybe in the latter portions of the game. For now, their priority should be maybe a burst type or maybe a Brody. In fact, for Apbren, very quickly go for the Brody this time so that they secure that. Oh, decent versus the Fredrin and the Minotaur all together. Then I'm thinking Arlet actually for Apbren because that's usually what they pick up against this Fredrin, and there it is, the Brody.
That's why you're the $1 million caster right there. Look at that $1 million prediction over there. Brody does get slotted up. I think it's a great answer, especially against a heavy frontline composition. I mean, teams that like to dive in, going back to the back line onto marksman. Brody's one of the best pickups for that, right? He has the corrosion strike to be able to get that stun, get back, has a flicker to top that off as well to expand the distance and also close the distance if he wants to go in for the kill with the torn apart memories. Now, Flat TZ, not wasting any time for the team. You know, they are going to go ahead and decide who their jungler is going to be. And that is going to be the Boxia. Now, we've been seeing the Boxia picked up today. It's definitely been executing pretty well, rotating around, able to get to the positions necessary to deal the damage. We saw RQ Hoshi in the first game pick up a die rock to respond to it, but now, hey, they can't really pick up the die. I mean, I guess they could, but it would make it a little bit troublesome, especially when there's a Brody on the table who really wants those frontline competitions to be slotted up. So that will be a little bit of the easier time for the Boxia rotating around.
Nathan going to be the pickup for RQ Hoshi. I would have said Claude, but then again, this totally makes a lot of sense. It's an AoE. There's a lot of AoE that you could get out of the Nathan. Although it will take a lot of time, it's definitely okay and advisable to go for a late game hero now for RQ Hoshi, because if you look at their two heroes, it allows for those late game types of heroes like the Nathan that really likes to farm a lot. You have the Minotaur as well as the Fredrin to protect that Nathan. They might even couple this up with another sustain kind of hero, or maybe somewhere along the lines of a Lilia that can actually sustain herself so that he can output the damage. And now, actually, I think Apbren might look to ban that hero, that Lilia, and obviously the Nana, the heroes that allow for the Nathan to be able to farm.
That's honestly exactly what I was going to say, right? The Nana or the Lilia is definitely something RQ Hoshi could profit off of, and a great read from Apbren to be able to counteract that. Now, that will put RQ Hoshi in a little bit of a bind on who they go in for their mage. Now, Valentina looks to still be on the table. They could pick that up. I mean, it'd be great against the Faramis to provide the nether realm for the side of RQ Hoshi. I mean, they have a little bit of sustainability from Bruce on the Minotaur, but it would be a really good pickup, especially to give them even more heals on these 5v5 engagements up against a hero like Brody, right? He pops that torn apart memories, instantly go in for that nether realm to keep the team alive. No worries about it. You've been talking about the Nathan sneaking up into the scene as well today, and now we get to see a showcasing of exactly how well it will perform up against Apbren. But so far, we got a pretty solid draft on our hands.
Yeah, that's Lilia banned out by Apbren as expected. But you're right. I think the Valentina could be a valid pickup here for RQ Hoshi. However, there's that option of the Aurora, which really couples up well with the Minotaur. Maybe the next best choice is the Vexana. These two heroes that can that actually replaced Farsa and Eve, that really puts themselves just way back into the fights and just output the damage. That makes a lot of sense versus the Faramis, so that you can trickle down the extra HP from the ultimate. So that could be a valid option here for RQ Hoshi. Might reserve their XP lane for last, or maybe they picked it up. Oh, there it is, the Vexana. I think maybe RQ Hoshi will close it up with a Lapu-Lapu.
A Lapu-Lapu. You know what I'd be interested to see? The Benedetta slide through that they've been kind of dominating so well on, especially with Banana. And we talked about it walking in the early phase of the draft, and I mean, he's performed really well on it. It could be a possible pickup, especially since CC was not able to be slotted. It was currently banned out. And that's one of the few XP laners that we've been kind of seeing him run so far. We did see the Ruby banned out as well, which could have been a great answer, either flex to the XP lane or the roam position. So I would say, Benedetta could be a very good pickup for the side of RQ Hoshi. But in terms of Apbren, they're looking pretty solid with their draft. They have sustainability. They have great front line from the Boxia and already some good damage from the Brody. And there goes the Grok that we've seen previously in the quarterfinals.
I would have said that maybe they snatched the lapu-lapu, and indeed they did that, because that means that Arkeoshi will not have the perfect hero to counter the Fire Mist as well as Brody. So yeah, I think they're left with one option, which is the Benedetta now for Arkeoshi. Apart from that, the choice will be Yuzhong, which is not the most ideal scenario. But if they want, they can still go for, like, I think they're left with Benedetta because you have AoE damage, matchup against the Lapu-Lapu. Well, maybe the craziest hero that they can get is probably Yuzhong, although that is like a very underwhelming hero to go up against Apbren. And there's it. Well, there's the Benedetta, a specialty for Arkeoshi. Great closeout. I think this is a relatively even draft. But I do like that, like the Nathan pick coming out from Arkeoshi, because it makes a lot of sense with the heroes that are around it. You have the Vexana to output the damage when the Minotaur goes for the initiation. You have Fredrin to frontline for the team, and with this kind of lineup, they have a way to front to back. At the same time, there's always that option to go for the split with Banana. So it's a really good mix for both teams.
Yeah, and with Skylar run the Nathan, it's definitely going to be a little bit different of a game than what we've seen on the Laylas. We are now stepping into the virtual arena. Apbren out from the Philippines, looking stronger than ever. Currently at match point up against Arkeoshi out from Indonesia. Who will be able to prevail in that amazing draft? Like we said, pretty even on the scoreboard, but time will tell on who will be our victor for game number 2.
It's going to be a really good matchup. And I do hope that we get to a game number 3. Just because of how good the two coaches are drafting. I mean, just for game number 2, that's what I can say. It makes for an interesting draft, and I kind of want to see more. But at the same time, obviously, Apbren would want to close this out 2-0. The way that they drafted this is to win the lanes, right? So you have the Lapu-Lapu, which is a hero that rarely loses lane. Really good in that regard. Going up against the Benedetta, I think that if you go damage build on Banana, you're going to have a better time against the Lapu-Lapu because of the trading potential that you have. Just have to be careful not to get hit with by skill 1 and skill 2 of this Flapteasy Lapu-Lapu.
Yeah, and Brusco taking some heavy hits nice and early. Going to force him to recall back to the base. Arkeoshi starting to try and be a little bit more aggressive. May look a little bit more promising to game number 1 on the bot side. Banana very comfortable over here on this Benedetta, forcing Kyle Teasy to the bot side to stop him from taking down Flapteasy on the 1v1 engagement.
Yeah. Gotta be Banana, just, you know. There's always that thing where you say that Banana is a one-trick kind of player, but man, every time you watch his Benedetta and the way that he plays it, you're always amazed. You can see even Flapteasy on the Yuzhong, the Lapu-Lapu, I mean, is struggling against Banana's Benedetta.
Yeah, speaking of struggling, Big Terror find the way. Brusco will be able to find one. Takes on Ogwin. A little different of a start than we've seen in game number 1. This time, we're able to see Arkeoshi take the first kill as we do kind of pan over for a quick second. They are leading. That was first blood and now up by about 500 gold.
Yeah. Good movements. Taking advantage of the Fredrin Minotaur wall that they can have, moving wall that they have with the Vexana from behind. It's like a war strategy from Arkeoshi where they're slowly sieging Apbren with these big boys in front line, and Apbren couldn't do anything about it. Even in this third take, you can see that it's difficult for them, and Octa is just outputting so much damage from behind. He's free to do it.
Yeah, a lot of damage. Irab will be able to claim that turtle. Arkeoshi, this is what we're talking about. This is the Arkeoshi we've seen in Group Stage A and in the quarterfinals. Now, leading the way in the early game, Apbren on the backside of things this time around. Now, I would say Banana definitely opening up a lot of opportunity. Running on the Benedetta, a comfort pick, a staple pick inside of his hands. It definitely makes the difference in the early phase of the game, and it's something that Arkeoshi is leaning on. Now, for Apbren, I mean, they're still looking pretty promising. We like the Brody pickup, right? It's really good up against the up and close and personal heroes. Even the Benedetta, if she decides to rush in, it could be a possible problem. But so far, Arkeoshi, with the slight lead, looks like they've been able to find their tempo since game 1.
Oh, yeah. And even Skylar is leading when it comes to the EXP going up against Super Marco, if I'm seeing this correctly. But there was a time where Skylar was level 5 and Super Marco was level 4. Super Marco had to go back to base, and this is looking really well for RQ Hoshi. All of the lanes are going in their favor, and all of the core heroes from RQ Hoshi are getting the farm over their designated matchup. So that's definitely a good sign. 3 minutes, 38 seconds to get the Feather of Heaven. Great timing for Skylar.
Yeah, and Super Marco going to go ahead and pick up that Blade of Heptaseas. So some great initial burst damage. Brusco trying to find an opportunity for the side of RQ Hoshi. Looks like they're going to go in for a possible pick-off. Rushing straight in a few, but he may be able to make his way into that tier 2 turret. Irad thirsty for the kill, but not able to close the distance for the setup.
Maybe Irad with just the pokes. I mean, look at him having the freedom to do this because of Brusco's protection.
Yeah, big wild charge. Guardian's barrier.
Oh, wow.
Dropping down from Ogwin, trapping Brusco and Octa from escaping. It's a good thing Apbren did not decide to engage on that, because that was a good setup to kind of zone them away from escaping.
Yeah. Great plays coming up from RQ Hoshi. You can see that without the wild charge, Apbren might not be thinking about taking the turtle, actually. Maybe they just go for pickoffs. But in comes the turtle fight.
Yeah, sitting at about 75% HP. Irad on it over here with the Fredrin, being a little bit of a bully, not afraid to take the fight up close and personal. Rushes into Ogwin for the setup. Teasy zoned out from Brusco. RQ Hoshi, total control of the jungle and turtle pit so far, even extending into the purple buff, but Irad may be a little too close if they decide to engage. Big Manoan Fury, triple knockup onto Apbren. Brusco with the setup, forcing out the Electrifying Blow and the Nether Realm coming alive from Few, as both teams still fighting it out over this turtle. Neither side able to find the advantage they were looking for.
When Kyle is low, and Irad is half HP, but does have the sustain from the as a Fredrin. And they're trying to buzz from this turtle. Who takes it, though?
Ooh, it looks like Octa will get the steal for RQ Hoshi. Brusco will fall, though. Super Marco finding his first kill of the game. That will go into the hands of Apbren, but they lose the neutral objective. A 1,000 gold lead for RQ Hoshi.
Irad. Okay.
Gonna rush in. Big wild charge for the knockup. Irad will be able to get out of there, though. Very low on the HP. Electrifying Blow going down from Banana through the Guardian's barrier provided over there from Ogwin, who has had some really good setups with it. I think his placement have been pretty valid so far in the early phase.
Yeah. I got a little bit scary for Irad, almost going down, but fortunately he has the help of Octa with this Vexana. The position is just way too good for this Vexana. Octa is just providing so much defense for his team while also outputting the damage, right? So you cannot really just dive as Apbren. And if you're thinking about the composition of Apbren, they're mainly like, I would say melee based. Thinking about it, like Brody has it, without the ultimate, Brody's range is not that good. And that's why they need to go up close and personal as Flap gets melted down. Few, just a fraction of a second too late with the Faramis ultimate.
Yeah, nice and early pickoff from the side play of the Bush in the mid lane. And now maybe able to seize the opportunity to take this tier 2 turret. Skylar not wasting any time controlling this map for RQ Hoshi. And so far, they're getting everything that they have came for. Apbren is now the team that is reacting to RQ Hoshi.
It's really good from RQ Hoshi. This is the tempo that we're looking for. And like we said, like these 4 people, they will not leave each other. They will let Banana do the split for them. And both Octa as well as Skylar, they're going to be able to output the damage that they needed because of the two bad dudes in the front line. That's Irad and Brusco. And I don't know if you know this already, but Brusco in Tagalog can also mean something like a big dude in the front line, like a brawn kind of dude. Like when you're Brusco, you're like a jacked kind of dude in the front lines.
Yeah, definitely showcasing it and living up to that name. Has a lot of things going on in the mid lane from both sides of the table. Bodies may drop here in a matter of seconds. You are seeing the Terrify go down. Octa able to find Flap Teasy, unable to find his way back to his side of the jungle. One member down for the side of Apbren. 3 seconds until the Lord spawns in.
Oh, man. They're nullifying the Lapu-Lapu by outputting so much damage. Look at Skylar. Good hit on the second skill, and now Kaltisi goes into the fray.
Yeah, he's going to rush in. Hit with the Terrified, though. Irad trying to get away. The wall will drop again from Ogwin. We talked about his placements on these Guardian barriers. Definitely not disappointing today. Brusco, very low, torn apart. Memories. Super Marco will find him, and Noam Fury goes down right before he falls. For the setup on the Apbren, Irad will find the Lord. That is a big play for the side of RQ Hoshi to continue their tempo. Super Marco takes down Banana to respond. Two members falling for the side of RQ Hoshi, but able to claim this Lord.
All due fairness, RQ Hoshi's Lord Dance is great. They got the Lord after that. But Apbren, they're juggling. Their isolation moves are looking very neat. And that's the thing for RQ Hoshi. The only reason for them to lose some of their members is that if somebody gets isolated. It is exactly what happened with Brusco as well as Banana. Nevertheless, they still secured the Lord, which is much more important in this case. Like losing your roamer for the Lord is definitely a positive trade for you. And RQ Hoshi can now take over the map once again.
Yeah, with that Lord marching down on the bot side, they may go in for some additional turrets. I mean, look at the top lane. Skylar, again, will take another tier 2 turret in their favor. Now leading 4 turrets to none against Apbren, and may claim some more in the mid lane as they are going to siege for that tier 1. It will fall into their hands. 3 major objectives, 2 turrets and a Lord over to their side so far. Even on the kills, though, but down in the economy by 4,000 gold behind Apbren.
Yeah. Looking really good for the Nathan as well for now. I mean, we haven't been talking about Skylar, but he is actually left in the kitchen for quite a long time now. 7.5k, 1,000 gold ahead of the Brody, and already up with 3 items. And by the way, Crystal and Stardom set with the Feather of Heaven, that's gonna hurt. If you see someone just stay in front of Nathan for 1 or 2 seconds, no matter who that is, that guy's gonna die. And the only saving grace here for Apbren is that they have the Faramis ultimate. Even Kyle, look at him take so much damage.
Ooh, big Minoan Fury as well for the knockup. The response back, though. Brusco very low. Entropy going out. Trying to get a possible kill. Skylar looking for the opportunity. Electo final blow. Few will take down Banana before he's able to escape. That will be 2 members falling for the side. No, 1 member falling for the side of RRQ Hoshi. They still have the ground control, and they still want to take the fight. Irad will find Super Marco, finds the marksman for Apbren, and going in for this tier 2 turret. You're looking at Flapteezy not trying to give it up without a fight. It will fall, though. Octa able to claim it for RRQ Hoshi.
Oh, did you see that juggle coming up from Apbren? Flapteezy activated the Bravest Fighter, hit onto 2 of their members, and looked like it's as if he will commit to the fight. But instead, he went back, and that actually attracted Banana to go in and get isolated again. He was taken out. However, RQ Hoshi, with the farm that they have and the fact that they're grouping up, at least for the rest of their other members, they still were able to take out Super Marco, which is big, and they took an objective to go with it. So this is RQ Hoshi not only controlling the tempo, but now having great plans whenever they're trying to go for plays. It's not anymore a mindless play that they're doing or a very reactionary kind of play that they're doing. This is actually a planned assault coming out from RQ Hoshi.
And now, passing that 11-minute mark, you're looking at RQ Hoshi having full control of this game so far. Hasn't lost a single turret in this game. And now, looking to take the next objective on the board. The contesto from Apbren. A little bit of a knockup. Flapteezy very low. Entropy going down. Skylar able to get it, but a wild charge from Ogwood into the backside. We'll get the knockup, but no bodies will fall. Minoan Fury from Brusco. Triple set onto Apbren. Still fighting it out. Octa will find another. Down goes Kaltisi. Super Marco, though, in the fight. Skylar taking down Few. Super Marco and Ogwin by themselves. Few will get back in time. Get the most out of the passive from this Faramis. Now you're looking at RQ Hoshi, trying to seize the opportunity to crack open the base from Apbren.
Waiting for more. Skylar just destroys them. Irad gets the last hit, but you can see them. Skylar, though.
Yeah, very low. Can't get around that wall. Gets a kill, though. Irad will find Super Marco. 4 members falling. Looks like they're going in for the finish. RQ Hoshi looking to turn this game around. Can they do it? The Terrified, the knockup. Kaltisi sustaining himself through all this damage, trying to buy some time. Few will find Skylar. Gets a double. Takes out Banana. Minions are in play, but he will fall a full wipeout on Apbren. RQ Hoshi trying to close it out. Ogwin Just needs a few minutes to go through, not able to close the distance. And RRQ Hoshi flipping the script and turning this around, evens out the series against Apbren.
And just like we said before Game 1 started, the priority for RQ Hoshi is to win their lane matchups, particularly in the side lanes. We saw that in this particular game with that Nathan going up against the Brody, you understand why it won. It's because of the range once again. And then eventually there was a gap between the gold laners where Skylar had a much better shot in the early stages of the game by getting much more farm compared to the Brody. Now we can see that in the bottom lane, that's also true with Flapteasy versus Banana. Banana just froze the lane down the bottom just to become in front of Flapteasy and then take advantage of the damage buildup onto Benedetta. Had it not been for Apbren's massive juggles, this game would have easily been in RQ Hoshi's favor. But at the same time, RQ Hoshi really woke up. And now Brusco actually is in a much more comfortable spot. You can see him go for those initiations wherein he will pop the first two ticks of the ultimate in place and then go for the flicker for nice timing on Apbren. He times the flicker in the right moment so that he'll be able to catch Apbren at the edges of the circle of the Minoan Fury. And what you only need to have like the follow-up coming up from the Vexana to eventually take over the game. And that's really what Brusco has been able to bring to the table when he's given this kind of comfortable heroes. Surely the Kufra is a hero that was mastered already by Brusco, but it doesn't work in the meta. Now we can see like Tigreal, heroes like Grok, as well as this Minotaur. This will be the priority for RQ Hoshi. So I will not be surprised if there's an emphasis on the Haka Brusco strat again for Apbren next game.
Yeah, and I mean, the signature banana split, right? Banana really
That's
good
also true.
rotating around the
That's
map
also
on the
true.
Benedetta, and they let it walk. We talked about it earlier in the draft. We said, hey, majority of the time we're seeing the side of RQ Hoshi win. Banana has this Benedetta. I'm convinced that the B in Benedetta stands for banana, the way he's performing so far today. But yeah, he's creating those opportunities every single time to be able to get the neutral objectives and also free up Skylar to have a good time in his gold lane. And it allows RQ Hoshi to kind of thrive in the early phase. And once they start, they don't stop, right? We've seen them pretty much continue to check off those blocks on their list for these objectives, which led to that 13-minute finish, a very early game. And now we're sitting at an even series, and there goes our MVP.
40% damage taken. He really put his role into heart, right? So we said that this composition, when they went in for the Frederick plus the Minotaur, the idea here is that you have backliners to support you, which in this case it is some Vexana as well as the Nathan. But I want to go back to the first few minutes of the game where you can really see what the strength of the Minotaur plus the Fredrin can bring to the table, or what their strength really is, which is really just run down and slow siege your opponents and allow Vexana to just freely hit from the backlines. If you're looking at Apbren, the only backline access that they have is Flapteasy. Surely you can argue that with Kyle, Ogwen, and Few, but they're generally heroes that want to go to damage the frontliners, so it's more of a front-to-back composition for Apbren. Despite the dive and the gap closers that they have, this is generally a lineup where you want to go front to back, and RQ Hoshi took advantage of that. They have a much better front to back composition compared to Apbren, and you can see them abuse that factor, especially in the early stages of the game where they just literally stopped Ogwen as well as View from rotating to their own teammates, which now made it so that the side lanes, the natural advantage that you have for the side laners of RQ to flourish. That's exactly what happened in the early stages. And the good thing about RQ Hoshi in this game is that they didn't let go of the pressure, right? So every time that they try to team fight around the neutral objectives, they take that, they don't let go of that. Even when they lose some of their members, that's all right. Then they allow the Banana to go for the macro plays. Or overall, RQ Hoshi, well-thought draft.
Yeah, definitely a well-thought draft and some excellent execution on top of that. Made for a game winner to even out this series up against Apbren. And now, with them being 1-1, me and you kind of expected, right, game 2 to be a little bit closer. That's the RQ Hoshi that we've been seeing so far in Game of Futures 2024.
Jadi sama-sama serba salah, guys.
I'm sure out in Indonesia.
Makanya kenapa gue bilang Bennett bagus.
Kapag ka Indo, nanti ya, aku cari itu dulu.
Indonesia namin. Namin, kita bangga.
Thank you, salamat!
Yuk, Kak.
Udah ngantuk.
Slamet. Babi nga na slamet.
Ulah Indonesia Naomi Gala.
Mantap ya.
Orang gabut. Asing, benar. Asing.
Sekarang suka main. Ya,
Sabar Pak Ape, saya juga pengen pukul anak-anak lihat nggak di end tadi.
Terima kasih ya Bang Haji Putra super chatnya. Thank you Bang.
Gua ngelihatnya tegang banget ya. Peu. Peu ngedefense 1 versus 4 cuk.
Indo Pride ya.
Kayaknya waktu mau nge-end katapultnya apa gerobaknya itu kehalangan badan Mino deh. Jadi nggak kelihatan, pas mundur baru kelihatan. Oh ada gerobak, maju lagi gitu.
Apa alasannya? Oh juga tahu. Sudah lancar bahasa Indo. Gak sedikit aja sedikit.
Naomi bilang ini Naomi, Nando
Hardi langsung melek Pak Ape.
Nando
kayak babi.
Reina Teneo.
Dia tahu ya kalau itu ada ya.
Dari Bedol GIGIKX.
Kaget adalah
Pesan,
subuh.
Bang teman cinta sama lu.
Ini Reina Teneo.
Bang temen cinta sama lu, buset.
Suara habis iya
Udah ada istri guys ya, nggak bisa udah ada istri.
Thank you Ray.
Terlalu
Duduk.
nyala bangku game kedua tadi.
Pokoknya apa dok? Kebakaran ya abangku.
Sendiri bangku.
Kebakaran sendiri abangku, nyalain sendiri.
Aji,
Yus, makasih. Mana guys?
bahasa gak bisa dia gak bisa.
Adik.
Semoga ini aja ya, semoga apa namanya?
Minum air pakai tolak angin jaga kesehatan.
Yuk alhamdulillah guys di komen, alhamdulillah di komen yuk, alhamdulillah dulu guys. Bisa yuk game ketiga yuk. Let's go.
Itu. Aduh, kenapa cepet banget sih ini? Dia tenang
Pecahannya dikasih lihat dong, boleh di sini lah bisa lihat.
Let's
Makanan
go bro.
saus yang namanya apa ya?
Kami nanti nonton sampai
Orang
pedas.
sekarang udah perhatian, Cok, gara-gara udah
Gak tahu aku
jarang live
ngantuk.
gua sekarang.
Udah
Waktu itu
ngantuk.
enggak ada tuh.
Mas bilangin ke Pak Ape Jesse RRQ bikinin ada ukuran big size dong mas. Oh.
Biar nanti pas
Saldi paling maksimal.
Tuh, segua guys paling maksimal. Ini pun tete gua kelihatan ya guys ya.
Ngantuk, udah ngantuk.
Jadi emang tetap harus diet guys ya. Mau gimana pun diet lah kalau misalnya gedut-gedut buat kesehatan. Hah?
Pantil lu nyepel enggak?
Nyeplak mau ngenyot nih.
Sana kita setting.
Thank you Bijen.
Enggak lah, enggak neplak sih. Gue pakai double bajunya, aman.
Lu pakai itu ya penutup pentil ya?
Dulu Jo, lu tahu nggak? MPL kan gue kalau pakai jersey nggak pernah pakai daleman kan. Pentil gue disolasi cok, terus sampai GH baru inget pentil gue tuh disolasi. Itu dibukanya bulu gue cabut semua cok. Selama 7 jam gue pakai itu solasi cok.
Kenapa biar nggak kelihatan ya pentil lu ya?
Iya dong. Aurat bro.
Ya, jangan lupa like, jangan lupa subscribe, jangan lupa like.
Ada gendut guys pakai
Like dulu, subscribe dulu guys.
Iya pakai lakban. Itu ada lu nggak ya Doy?
Ada.
Amin Roif, semangat
Tadi ada. Chassis baru gak ada.
Chelsea.
Sini bawa aja lah. Pacar Naomi belum pulang ya, tanya Naomi lah ya.
Belum bulan.
Thank you Sultan Pin.
Maksudnya ini Jo masih ada gojeknya gak gitu loh. Maksudnya ada angkotnya gak jam segini.
Apalagi udah jam 1 ya.
Apa-apa.
Ajarin bahasa Myanmar lah.
Di sini bareng-bareng.
Naomi, ajarin bahasa Myanmar lah.
Kulit, kapan terakhir bira apa? Bira Jojo.
Aku suka makan ayam, apa tuh?
Aku suka makan ayam. Cai deh.
Apa?
Cai deh.
Ceta cai teh.
Dari Idol. Pesan.
Ceta cai teh. Gitu ya.
Bro di dunia.
Suka makan ayam.
Ceta cai teh.
Ceta cai deh gitu.
Ceta cai teh. Ceta cai teh McD. Asik.
Mau lihat Spider-Man. Ya kan di mana ngalangin itu kan di kiri.
Aduh pusing cok. Pusing gua guys.
Cewek kamu di Indo gimana? Enggak lah, kita di Myanmar.
Aduh. Kok
Naomi, my viewers want to see your girlfriend. You move. You move.
Aduh.
Amin, semoga sehat-sehat ya.
Sini.
Hey, you like ceta cai teh? You like Hechata Taite?
You?
Gimana? Kamu suka ayam Hechata Taite kan katanya kan?
Yeah.
Your girlfriend Hechata Taite.
Thank you. Tesnya dari
Caite.
Ah. Kita cai deh.
Susah juga ya.
Kita caite. Kita caite.
Mana Taite?
Boleh.
Caite.
Apalagi ya? Kalau aku tidur malam-malam apa?
Nathan di kantor Lolita ya bisa-bisa
Aku tidur
aja.
malam-malam.
Lolita skill 2-nya sekarang cepet banget. Terus kenapa gold shutdown itu?
Nyai deh.
Karena dari sananya udah diatur ML ya.
Nyaite.
Ya, hanya ide.
Anya ite.
Aska kalau main M jangan banyak ngepot sama kamu tuh Aska.
Yunami.
Bang, bukannya yang kalian
Anya ite.
Kalah.
Kelas, Pak.
Juara 3 perebutan juara 3.
Itu
Ini hadiahnya
itu 10 juta itu.
hadiahnya, Cok.
Sumpah.
Kali dua dulu yuk.
10 juta punya, Cok.
Kali dua dulu yuk. Jo, Naomi, Bang Sin, Pak Ape.
Saya Rino.
Kuma.
Saya Rino.
Dulu.
Penting mah, dengar dulu.
Cenah taite. Cenah mah taite gitu ya. Cenah mah taite. Kok Sunda anjing.
Gila.
Haji Putra tuh.
It's Haji Putra, bro.
Mana mau lihat
You say thank you Haji Putra. It's Haji Putra, bro.
Haji Putra.
Ya.
Makasih Haji Putra.
Boleh.
Gitu kan?
Ke.
Ilyas.
Belum draft aja udah kali 2, Cok.
Buka kaki.
Oh, dengar tuh. Iya loh, Indo Pride, bro. Ilmu tai abangku.
Kasih tahu ilmu tai abangku.
Iya, gue kira 10.000 juga tadi.
Selalu kebakaran abangku, nyalain sendiri abangku.
Nami, lu harus gini. Makasih Bang Haji Putra, thank you.
50.000 dari UPDKB. Pesan menang kalah tetap RR.
Majan, sudah pukup.
Drop.
First by the Ruby game number 1, and that might be the case, but no, they banned out Thermis instead. It is going to be a totally different approach now for Apbren.
Yeah, they're gonna ban out the Fairness. A little bit of a surprise right there, seeing that not walk. Normally with Apbren though, the way I've been noticing a kind of pattern in their banning, especially when they're second pick, but first pick the Fairness is a little newer to me. Usually their second pick, they'll either go. I mean, they may still do it. They may ban out the R-Lot, maybe the Ruby as this progresses. With them having first pick, trying to get some of those prior targets that they like to focus in on. Especially, I mean, if RQ Hoshi doesn't ban the CC, that's a great pickup for Apbren, especially to keep up with the mobility if they decide not to ban the Benedetta. I think that'd be strong.
Yeah.
There goes the Joy, though, taken off the table, and then a staple ban that we've been seeing time and time again for majority of the teams in Game of Futures 2024. I think it's just across the board, nobody wants that to walk. Out goes the Mathilda.
Yeah. The maybe answered by a Nolan. Especially when the Joy is banned out, you don't want to have the Nolan in there. Novaria obviously is a problem in that regard. With this banning pattern from Apbren, maybe they go Guinevere as their third ban, but they go Minotaur, obviously. We already talked about that. So there are two targets here for Apbren. Either they want to go Ruby or Guinevere as their first pick, right? So those are the potential heroes for Apbren. And whatever is left in the two heroes that we've mentioned, that will go in the favor of RQ Hoshi. Because I don't think that RQ Hoshi will let the Nolan out unless they have a set plan for it. But I don't think it will be the choice here for RQ Hoshi.
I agree with you actually on that. I think the Ruby would be a strong pickup. I mean, there's not really too many heroes that can give it a hard time. And we've seen when the Ruby was slotted up against the Kufra, how much of a presence it had for Apbren to be able to dominate, get those Diamond Finners they were looking for, and also be able to sustain. But not to mention, it's also a great flex pick, right? I mean, you can also put it in the XP lane or when all else fails, if you need to kind of adjust your composition throughout the draft. And there goes the Nolan that you kind of mentioned being a wise pickup and a wise ban for the side of RQ Hoshi. And there it goes. The Guinevere will be slotted up.
Yep. As expected, it's the Gwyn first pick for Apbren. They're very much happy to give the Ruby to RQ Hoshi. And if you're RQ Hoshi, you really cannot pass up on that pickup. So going back, they might go for the Fredrin again. But they go instantly for the Nolan. And there are little to no answers to this Nolan in the laning stage. Maybe Apbren just brings up a Clint, actually, just so that they can outrange this Nolan. But this is such a strong pick. Now, how do you answer the Nolan? You have to go for the dive, right? For Apbren. So you need a hero that goes with the Guinevere when it comes to diving. Like maybe a Yuzhong, a Paquito again for Apbren.
Arlott?
Maybe at Arlott, right? I wonder if you wants to go for assassin type of mages, perhaps someone that can dive as well. And there's the Arlott that you talked about. Maybe they go for a few hero now. Maybe okay, they go Nana. Wow. Okay. Yeah, makes a lot of sense versus the Ruby in a way.
I like it. I mean, the synergy, that's a synergized combo, right? You have the Guinevere and the Arlott, the Demon Gaze being able to proc off the CC your team provides. Having that Violet Requiem from the Guinevere and the Spatial Migration is going to provide that. And we still haven't even got to see what hero is going to be slotted up in the roam position for Apbren, which is going to also benefit the Arlott to top that off. Not to mention, it procs off the Melina's Blitz from the Nana as well. So
that's right.
I think that's going to be a very scary game into the hands of Flap Teasy if he decides to run this Arlott in the XP lane. Now, for RQ Hoshi, they're going very strong in the frontline presence, right? We are going to see them pick up this Fredrin. Good to be a bully on the neutral objectives, but may have a little bit of a struggle if the CC is over-pressures him. The Ruby may be able to make up for it, though. With how much CC Ruby has in her kit, it definitely works well up against a frontline and dive composition that we are seeing so far from the side of Apbren.
Yeah. Argoshi might go and ban out the Clint. I think those are the Clint and Harith are the two heroes that I'm thinking about that could be good for Apbren. Going up against this Nolan. Harith, you combo that up with a Kaja and then or any kind of initiation hero for Ogwen so that you have instant burst. Maybe that's the way for you to take out this Nolan. And usually Nolan players go for Purify. So maybe a Suppress is the best option here for Apbren. And as expected, it's the Clint ban for RQ Hoshi. Whereas Apbren now going to be looking for your mages to ban. Oh, but of course, you don't want to give the Benedetta anymore after that game for RQ Hoshi. You don't give it.
Yeah, you know what else is on the table too? Well, actually, I don't think it'll be picked up, but no, maybe. CC, did C walk? CC did walk.
Not yet. Oh, okay.
It did. So it may need to be banned out. It could be a pickup from RQ Hoshi. They could flex the Ruby into the roam position, put CC in the XP, put Fredrin on the jungle. And I think that'd be a pretty solid composition, especially with them having first pick on the second phase of this draft. Would be definitely an asset to their composition that they're drafting so far. For Apbren, though, they're looking pretty solid. They just need to kind of solidify this with maybe some more Group C. Honestly, they might not even need to go Group CC. They could go for some sustainability. I mean, they already have the Guinevere and the Arlott and the Nana to top that off. Overall, this is similar to game number 2, where both sides have a very solid draft.
I'm thinking. I'm only thinking 2 heroes now for Apbren that could left. Kaja, as well as Kaja, as well as maybe the Tigreal. But I think you're more leaning towards the Kaja because you don't want to have an actual tank in the front lines because that will be taken out anyways. I suspect the mage will be the ban here for Apbren. RQ just can go back to Aurora. So similar idea for the Vexana. You can output the damage from long distance. Have the Ruby as well as this Fredrin front for you. So you're going to be in a much better spot. So apart from the Kaja, something tells me that Apbren might go back to maybe a... This is crazy, but maybe a Leslie, actually. Because you really need to outrange this Nathan. But, of course, CC controlled by RQ Hoshi. Great pickup. So if either Kaja Beatrix for Apbren or Kaja Leslie for Apbren. Obviously, that's a wild idea, but... The point is you need to outrange this Nathan in lane so that you can win that matchup.
Another one that might slide through is the Brody. I mean, I don't see the Brody being banned out. It could definitely be a strong pickup. It's been a staple pickup so far in Game of Futures 2024. Able to be very mobile, able to sustain himself, especially against that entropy that the Nathan will drop in with the CC, who we know is going to harass on these objectives, right? It's a lot of mobility, and not just for any player. That's going to be banana. picking up this CC. If you've seen what he did with the Benedetta in the last game, he was all over the place, creating the opportunity in the XP lane for the difference on the neutral objectives, either being able to help clear the mid lane, providing an extra member to be able to fight in these neutral objectives, and also delaying the other XP laner from keeping up with him. But they're going to go for something like you kind of mentioned, the Beatrix. I think it's a wise decision. We don't get to see the Beatrix too often in Game of Futures 2024, so I'm excited about that. But the last pick was there for Apbren, and it will be the export.
Export. You really need poke here from Marky Hoshi. Obviously, the Aurora is there. Maybe they go back to a Farsa, actually, just for them to control this export. But obviously, the Lilia is a much better or a more... I guess easier hero compared to a Farsa, but you understand the point, right? You need poke, and that is the reason. That is the way you handle the export is via poke, and Lilia just checks all those, takes all those check boxes. Overall, a great draft again from both teams. Did you notice that this probably is one of the most intense drafts that we've seen in this particular tournament, where every single second we keep on guessing and. There are the setups. They dig their bag of tricks, picking up the Beatrix. As I've mentioned, like there were only two options for them, either the Beatrix or the Leslie. You don't want to go Leslie because it's not the most reliable hero in the game. Beatrix, though, it has a way. It has a way at least to win against the Nathan. It doesn't necessarily 100% win against the Nathan, but if you play it correctly, you can. Now it's up to execution for both teams.
And into the land of Dawn we go. Apbren, all the way out from the Philippines, the world champions from 5, looking to make a stand up against Hoshi from Indonesia. This is a best of 3, all the way to a game number 3. One of these teams will be going home today. One will be moving forward into the grand finals. Who will it be?
It's got to be up to who executes better. And we haven't really talked about the swing coming from Apbren. We were talking about the Kaja that could be the pick-off potential for Apbren from the Roamer role. But you kind of have a pseudo Kaja with a much faster cooldown on the ultimate. That's the Arlet. You only have to wait, 20 to 25 seconds maximum level to have that final slash. And that will give Apbren that leeway. Because the thing with the final slash is, it's not a spell that you actually want to use your Purify on, because the animation is too quick that even if you pop the Purify, you're already displaced by your opponent. So in a way, Apbren have thought of a much better version for a Kaja, which, well, that's the reason why they're the world champions, because they think better than we do. And then they swing this X-Borg as the EXP lane. And many teams will argue that X-Borg is strong in the meta game right now just because of the presence of the CC. It actually wins that matchup.
Yeah, we talked about having a possible plan for the banana split, right? Stopping banana from being able to rotate around. And I think that's a good read from the side of Apbren to be able to do that. Now, execution is another story. I mean, we know Banana is one of those players that knows how to find the opportunity that the team is looking for. So that is one of the things we're going to have to kind of pay close attention to for the side of Apbren, as the first turtle does spawn in. Some engagement in the mid lane, though. Big knockup over there from Irrad. Appraiser's Wrath finds Ogwin, procs the passive over there from Nana. Few forced to go back. And now the last Sanity going out. Flat TZ for a final stand, trying to delay them from taking this. Violet Requiem goes down. Flat TZ finds Irrad. Kyle TZ claims the turtle for Apbren.
Lap is in trouble, but already damage has been done. He's actually surviving as the Firaga. It is safe for now. Oh, everybody's just so good at playing right now. Even the Arkeoshi, after losing that, they look really good in that team fight. And they really challenge Apbren to their limits. But in the end, it's only one hero that will be able to snag that last hit on the turtle. It's definitely going to be the Apbren side.
And hey, we're climbing up that ladder. The pressure's only getting higher and the room is only getting hotter. But who will be able to maintain that heat? Will it be Indonesia? Will it be the Philippines? This is the last team from the Philippines currently seeing Blacklist taken down by Fireflux the other day inside of the quarterfinals. And Apbren still trying to hold that banner high. RQ Hoshi, though, back on the scene, back to the name change, some new additions, and looking stronger than ever. Both teams currently tied 1-1 on the scoreboard, but Apbren with that turtle play has a little bit of a slight advantage and a 1,000 gold lead.
Super Marco double laning. This is one of the strengths of the Beatrix, just like the Claude, because of the kits. They have unlimited, well, you have 4 weapons to switch from, and you have your teammates to really aid that. Even delaying that top lane for Super Marco to have a much better farm compared to Skylar. Technically speaking, there's also a merit for Skylar to go double lane because he has the ultimate, so he can traverse from top to mid lane very quickly. But Arkihoshi are thinking we also need farm on Octa, so we're not gonna sack our mid lane just for our gold lane to have a little bit of extra gold.
Yeah, and speaking of having the advantage, the first kill for the side of Apbren did go to Flap TZ on this X-Borg in the XP lane. You mentioned it being a great answer over there to Banana, and he's off to a really good start. Irad, though, able to get a kill of his own inside of the jungle, putting him slightly possibly ahead up against Kyle TZ. But you are seeing the engagement in the mid-river. Fire missiles going out, pulling Octa back, and Ogwin with the dive in will shut him down. And now Irad trying to join the party. Ogwin trying to get away, trying to expand that distance. Last Sanity to the back line. Almost connecting Flap TZ an inch away, but still getting the kills. Finds Brusco. Ogwin will fall to Banana, but Flap TZ takes down Skylar for the double kill.
Oh my god, Flap. What an amazing way to control this X-Borg. Last Insanity and second skill, the fire stakes still on point. You can see it through the replay. While another clash is happening. Look at that. He used the second skill while utilizing the ultimate. And well, everybody does that anyways. But the way that he timed it was so good that he caught 2 members of Arkihoshi with this additional slows. And unbelievable performance coming out from Flap TZ. Impure Rage X-Borg is the way to go.
Definitely the way to go and in control. You are going to see Skylar top side finding Super Marco. That will be the marksman falling for the side of Apbren. A little bit of a trade back for Arkihoshi, trying to even out this scoreboard, not trying to give Apbren control of the early phase. We know this is pivotal to both sides if they want to be able to win this, is the early game. So far, both teams putting out a great fight. Contest on to the top side, though. Violent Requiem, Spatial Migration from Kyle TZ catches Brusco. Few will do the last hit and take him down. Down will fall the turret in the top side as well. And it looks like Arkihoshi will disengage.
Yeah, they got a turtle, so that's good. But however, they will lose one of their members. And Flap TZ just casually pops the ultimate. Well, local done ultimate anyways at this point. You're not that scared. And they will try to push up top.
Yeah, gonna push up top. Final slash on the Skylar. Kyle TZ able to close the distance, deal the last hit to take him down. That's a response back from earlier with Super Marco falling. And now they're going to try and proxy this lane. They want to be able to open up this map in their favor, especially losing their tier 1 turret so far. And it looks like they may be able to do that. Brusco not in a position to contest. Hit with the Spatial Migration, Violent Requiem, and Super Marco will go ahead and take him down. And the turret will fall as well in hands for Apbren.
So we can see the full showcase of how Arlet counters these Purify-based heroes because of the local then ultimate Final Slash. And like I said, even when you pop the Purify on Final Slash, it wouldn't matter because the animation is too quick that you're already displaced. That's exactly what happened to Skylar. Then after the Purify threshold or duration is, because that's a very short duration, like what, 0.5 seconds, 0.2 seconds, that means that the stun now coming out from Ogwin as the Arlet is going to be even more difficult to deal with. They want to go for Flap, but can they take the X-Borg this time? No.
Ooh, I mean, Flap definitely going for that MVP. He's looking for it. He's gunning for it. 4-0-0 so far. Half of the kills from the side of Apbren were dealt by him. Super Marco will be able to claim a turret on the bottom side, and Apbren able to turn this game into their favor. Now leading by 5,000 gold.
Yeah. Looking really scary and looking really dicey now for Arkihoshi. But we always have to talk about the late game because this is still Nathan. Nathan is Nathan. End of the day, if he survives the initial flurry from Apbren, he's going to be able to turn it around with Purify as well as the ultimate for a little bit of cleanse. And the damage output from the Nathan late game is actually pretty good. However, Apbren, what they did to counter the Purify and the Cleanse is to just overload with a lot of crowd control. Like a lot of crowd control sources. Mini crowd control sources kind of answers Purify-based heroes. Because you have low cooldown, reliable knockdowns or stuns or knockups or anything, that committing a Purify for one spell, you'll always have to think about that. Should I commit for the Purify just to get out, or should I wait for the big ticket ultimates?
Ooh.
Oh.
And speaking of big things, final slash in the mid lane. Few will find Brusco.
Flap.
Good assist over there from Ogwin. Super Marco will claim Flap Teasy. Will go ahead and take down Octa. On fire so far, and Skylar off of the map on the bot side. We'll go ahead and claim a turret for the side of RQ Hoshi to try and catch up in this economy.
Oh my god, what is Flap on? He's just activated in this game. Really good calculations on this hero. He knows the limits of this hero. Now he has immortality. Remember, in those aggressive moves that he did 9 minutes before, he didn't have the immortality then, and he was already a problem. What more could you ask for from Flap TZ? He's gonna be destroying RQ Hoshi. He's gonna be zoning them out, and the positioning was just so perfect. The way that he maneuvers with the footwork on this X-Borg allows him to dodge some of the spells, but also like reach to the backlines like maximum from his fire missiles. It's really on point with this X-Borg now.
Yeah, and Apbren is definitely leaning on his rotations, opportunities creating. Speaking of opportunity, though, triple taunt in the mid lane for Apbren. Irad will find Super Marco. That'll be one member falling for Apbren. Flap Teasy will find Skylar to respond. A 1-for-1 trade. Both marksmen off the table. Can they get another, though? Who will lead this advantage in this engagement? Banana will find Ogwin. 2 members down for the side of Apbren. And it looks like they will have to disengage into the mid lane. RQ Hoshi, though, they don't have their marksman. They do have the retribution. But I don't know if they can really contest this Lord just yet. They may want to kind of wait it out a little bit before taking this fight. But they are off to a really good start. And this is still, I would say, considered a stalemate between both sides.
Yeah.
It's still anybody's game, but some great execution from both teams.
And great execution from Brusco this time with the conceal flicker play. Really surprising Apbren off, really off guard. And don't run Wolf King with the ultimate, connecting onto 3 members or 2 members of Apbren, quickly followed by Irad with a taunt. So that's really great combos coming out from RQ Hoshi.
Yeah, and if you weren't a fan of Indonesia or the Philippines, you definitely should be now. As look at both of these teams fighting their hearts out, trying to claim a spot inside of the grand finals. Apbren currently holding that title as the world champions, the best in the world, winning M5. RRQ Hoshi rising to the occasion with some new additions to the team, ready to take the fight and earn that title. Down to the wire, best of 3, game number 3. One team will be sent home today as we are now crossing that 11-minute mark, and both teams getting ready to fight it out at this Lord.
Yeah, great minion wave control from RQ Hoshi. There's a slow push in the bottom lane, and then they cleared out up top. So they actually have the advantage now in this Lord dance.
Yeah, and there goes the advantage they're looking for. Ogwin rushes in. We'll be able to get out with the mobility provided over there from this R-Lot. Flap TZ, though, getting to the front line, being a little bit of a nuisance. Dealing a lot of damage on the chase on a Brusco, commits to it. We'll shut him down with the last insanity. Now needs to get back. He does not have the Faraga armor. Look at the Lord, though. 25% HP. Kyle Teasy uses spatial migration to close the distance. Gets the retribution. Super Marco takes down Irad. And the Lord goes to Apbren.
Oh, man. Never, ever sleep on an X-Borg. Like, Brusco overstayed in front of the X-Borg. And at this point, with Flap being 7-0-2, of course he's gonna deal the damage. And they really got cooked by this X-Borg, Brute Force Breastplate as well as Borax, and then Radiant Armor. Now he has got staying power up against Skylar as well as Octa. This Flap TZ X-Borg is immortal, I gotta say, at this point. 12 minutes in, 9.2k. If you compare that to the CC 6.7k, that's how massive the advantage here is for Flap. And he was definitely the reason why Apbren recovered in that Lord Dance, because Brusco literally got cooked by his fellow Filipino Flap TZ.
And a big boost from that for the side of Apbren. Now able to claim the tier 2 turret in the mid lane. Looks like they're going in for a little bit more, though, on the top side. Now leading by a lot of turrets, and also ahead, like you mentioned, by gold. Now, RQ Hoshi forced to be a little bit more defensive now. Can definitely say Apbren is in control of the tempo of this game, but the later this goes, the more of a stalemate it will be, and that's what RQ Hoshi is going to kind of bank on, right? They're waiting for Apbren to make a slight mistake, maybe somebody to overextend, to be able to turn this around, and they're definitely a team that can rise up to the occasion. Now, so far with this lead in favor for Apbren, they're going to have to kind of be patient, wait it out for this next objective. I mean, they do have some great mobility on their side and Flap TZ to be a little bit of that frontline presence they're looking for. And RQ Hoshi having a really hard time finding an answer to him. I mean, the man has not died yet. He's 7-0-2. Even when the full team commits on him, not only does he sustain himself, but he finds a way to get a kill alongside it.
Yeah, somebody has to burst down Flap TZ actually. Like, if he wants to go for those plays where he actually utilized first kill in front of RQ Hoshi, there has to be some sort of punish. Maybe Skylar commits actually at the ultimate just to take out of Flap TZ and just put Apbren in an awkward spot. But then again, Skylar is kind of scared that there could be an initiation coming up from Ogwin as well as Kyle. So that's also a problem that he has to take care of. But the main problem now, definitely for RQ Hoshi, is Flap. It's a canon event again for Apbren.
Yeah, and you're looking at them getting ready, starting to go ahead and take control of these lanes, prepping for this next Lord to spawn in. And RQ Hoshi looks like they may actually try and go in for the contest. I mean, they are down in terms of economy, but the later this game goes, everybody's going to be getting closer and closer to that late build. You're seeing the Divine Glaive picked up from Skylar. Speaking about late game items, we'll have that magic pin. Now, at the 15-minute mark, Luminous Lord spawns in, and Apbren will pull the aggro. Do we see RQ Hoshi respond? It looks like they will. They are going to go in for the contest.
There it is. The commitment of the Flap. They forced the ultimate already.
Yeah, he is very low. Needs to get out of there. We talked about somebody needing to burst him down when it Truncheon picked up by Super Marco, getting ready to take this fight into the Lord pit. Nobody has fallen yet. Lord at about 50% HP. Kyle TZ gonna go ahead and pull it away. A little bit of a reset for some regen on the Lord, trying to delay and do this Lord dance. Some smart move from the side of Apbren. They know they want to bait out some of the utility from the side of RQ Hoshi. Wait for an ultimate to proc that they can profit on to be able to engage.
Well, watch out for Apbren's rotation with Super Marco as well as Ogwin. A 1-5 position. They're your position 1 and your position 5 going for the conceal play. Might go for that snipe. You gotta be careful if you're Skylar.
Yeah, definitely got to be careful. Apbren still in position to take this. Very patient, and I got to give credit to both sides on how they are waiting for the other side to make a mistake, but these are very high IQ plays. They're just waiting. This is the Lord dance we've been talking about that has been in the Land of Dawn for ages, especially on this level of competition. The Philippines and Indonesia, two of the most competitive regions in MLBB history, now fighting it out, raising those banners high. Flap TZ, though, is going to use that Braga armor, rushing in. Does take some serious hits. Entropy may come out. You're going to see Few find a kill, though. Shuts down Irat. That is huge. Is now RQ Hoshi does not have the retribution.
And what we talked about, the position 1 and position 5 for Apbren, the 1-5 punch from the long bush of Apbren, it paid off. They waited for 2 minutes. But because of their patience, they took out Irat with that combo. And now, massive advantage for Apbren, but Kyle is low.
Yeah, he wants him. He knows. He has the retribution. He wants him.
No.
Super Marco takes him down. 2 members falling for RRQ Hoshi. Still looking at a 5-man stack. Out from the Philippines, Apbren still in control of this neutral objective, and it looks like they are going in for the take. Ogwin will take down Octa. Super Marco finds Brusco, Skylar, and Irad wondering where did we go wrong. Now need to get out of there, but Apbren on the chase for the kill. Few takes down Skylar, and another will fall as Super Marco with the mega kill will go ahead and shut down Irad. A full wipeout against RRQ Hoshi.
They can go straight for the juggler this time. They have Beatrix, one of the fastest siegers out there, and there's only Banana that can defend this. Banana going in and chasing Kyle TZ, trying to go for the hero plays, but unfortunately wasn't successful, and now he's taken out. That should be it. Apbren will take this series for sure.
Yeah, able to claim this game and keep the Philippines inside of Game of Futures 2024 as they move on as the first seat in the grand finals.
What a Lord Dance. It was definitely a variation of, this is definitely a different variation of a Lord Dance, right? You can see that the side of Apbren parked both Super Marco as well as Ogwen in that long bush. And when I'm talking about the long bush, it was the bush nearest to the bottom.